breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power. We got the might. Together we can shine. Together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet. It's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout. We're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy January 6th, everybody.
Bro, best intro on the planet. Happy J6 Day, everybody. Happy anniversary, Tim. We made it, bro.
We did. Happy anniversary, Cash.
So, Tim, earlier I threatened Cash that I was going to jump out of a cake for his January 6th anniversary. So,
Oh my.
Yeah, he went through the prison system too.
Yeah. Well, Cash looks very good dressed like Enrique Tarrio. I won't explain that. Maybe I'll let him do it then.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Happy January 6th to you for those who celebrate. And just jump in the chat, say hello. Please give us a share. Really excited to do this. It did a little bit earlier and it was wildly successful to the point where I think I got mass reported for doing it, and my account was jacked all afternoon.
Really?
So, yeah. So, point of order: if you're following us on X, my first post is a link to my YouTube channel, which shout out to Creole Queen for getting that up and going for me. Really appreciate it, and B as well. And so that's up there. So if things go wacky, I'm live on YouTube. Cash is live on YouTube and Facebook as well because he's far more popular and good looking than me. So he's got all the channels. He's real big on Facebook. Let's just say that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Not like I was.
It's January 6th. I can say whatever I want. Misinformation
all right.
is the theme of the day, Cash. I can say exactly what I want.
All right, for sure. Gotcha.
I'm
for real, did they
tonight.
really ban you? Did they really for real like jack your account off?
That's what I think happened. We lost the feed, and then it was just coming up as an error, and then they didn't republish it. I had to republish it, and then I got locked out, and I can't like anything now. I can't bookmark anything. Like I've got like the whole voodoo going on my account. So if this is the last day of my account, it was totally worth it to hang out with you guys. So this is what happened
Casey,
when we did the medical murder with Terry's daughter-in-law, Leslie. This is exactly what happened to me and Terry. Our accounts were whacked for like a week. So they don't want us talking about what we're talking about on Free Speech X, where we're supposed to be positive, apparently. So
that's crazy, bro. That is nuts. I did not think that X was gonna get like that, but hey.
Yeah, it's bad. What's up, Casey?
What's up, everybody? Mama
What's up,
Dawn.
Gene?
I love you, Mama Dawn.
Oh, Gene just watched Protest to Prison. Excellent. Let's see. Waz is here. Where's that?
Big Waz in the building.
What's up, Waz? B's here.
Always.
The lovely Creole Queen is here as well.
Two of the greatest moderators on the planet right there.
Dawn's here. Catherine's here. Got a lot of people showing up. Thanks for coming, everybody. Rose is here. Yeah, please like and share this out. Anything you can do to help us, follow us, all those things. So, and here we go. What's up, Machine Gun Bobby?
Machine Gun Bobby in the building. This is a J6 reunion. If only I could have got Scott, bro. I wanted to get Scott.
Yeah.
I really want to get Scott on with us, bro.
Oh, Billy.
Next, man.
Billy. It's an inside joke, everybody.
It's going down.
It's an inside joke.
Pizza?
Yeah. Yes. Oh man, I remember all
Can't
that,
stand the
bro.
heat. Get out of the kitchen.
For
What
everybody
was
that
that?
don't know, these are inside jokes from DC Gulag. This is what we did to pass the time. We would yell out. The COs some of them used to go crazy over there. They get mad, telling us to shut up, bro.
Yeah.
Yelling through the doors. Oh, Billy!
Oh, Billy!
Oh man, bro. Whatever happened with him? What's going on with Cressman?
He's out.
Yeah,
out.
I've talked to him a couple times on the family group. He's doing all right.
That's good.
Just waiting for Jan 20th like everybody else.
I heard that.
Let me just do a quick introduction here. Terry will be in the comments. If you need help with anything, she'll be shooting us questions. Anything we don't get to real time, we'll try to get to at the end. Terry, thanks for doing that. And just wanted to throw a few things up here. Tonight, what we're doing is the reflection on 4 years after January 6th. We have 3 amazing J6ers with us. So thank you guys for joining us. I wanted to say Happy New Year. I'm working on my people skills, Cash. So happy New Year, everybody. Of course, I made it a scary drone thing because that's going on. So, but this is part of our series that we've been doing from protest to prison. We've been looking at how, in my humble opinion, the J6ers were treated differently than any other protest that's gone on. It's been an unfair prosecution, unfair to both the J6ers, their families, their loved ones, everyone involved in their lives. So we've been looking at that for last couple of months. And we would be remiss. We'll mention it probably a couple of times, but I wanted to make sure we mention right off the bat, rest in peace to Ashley Babbitt and Roseanne Boylan, who we talked about earlier today. Please share this if you can. And just wanted to give a quick shout out as well. Cash and I are also working on a series called Race, Faith, and Freedom. So you'll be able to catch that. We paused it to do this J6 reflection, but we'll be going back to that as well. Thursdays, I do Township Liberation with Mike Decentralized. We're doing a series about rules for new radicals. And we've been doing a game show, and Cash did very, very poorly on the game show, but it was a lot of fun. And so if you didn't see it, Cash didn't like me that day.
I'm not going to settle for your lies. Your lies will not be tolerated today. If you want to lie, you go over there with Nasty Nancy and you tell lies like the Democrats. That's what they do. Don't be that free. You said you're libertarian. Liberate yourself from the lies. Fake news.
Don't make me put you back in timeout, Cheeto Man. You're a few shades too dark to be a Cheeto, man.
Hey, Leanne, thank you so much for the super chat. Another amazing moderator of mine, Leanne T. I appreciate you. Love you.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that's helping us out. The help has been amazing. The support's been amazing.
Yeah.
One more plug. The original game show is You Aren't a Real Libertarian, where I tell people why they're not a real libertarian. So if you get a chance to join us, we've been doing them on the weekends, trying to do something a little fun, a little entertaining, do some education, but, try to make it a little fun. We talk about some serious stuff like we're talking about tonight. Trying to do something a little bit more fun. And, I get to rip on Cash and my friends, Casey and David and Joe and, all the other people have been nice enough to be my targets for those. So
it's been fun.
Make sure you're following Terry. And then make sure you're following Waz. We were talking about the challenges on Waz or challenges on Twitter. One of the nice things that's happened is Waz has gotten subscriptions. So you can subscribe to Waz now. Waz is the best of the Patriots at uniting us all.
Facts.
And, he was the first one to help out Cash when he got out of prison to rebuild his account. Him and Casey and Anthony all jumped in and we all tried to help Cash get his account back going. But Waz is the best. So if you are subscribing to anybody, please look at subscribing to Waz. And like I said, share it if you can. Appreciate it. So sorry for the delay there, guys, but thank you for joining us. Let's just go around the horn here and introduce everybody. Tim, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you made this illustrious panel tonight.
Oh boy, yeah, it's such a flattering story. Well, so okay, my name is Tim Hale. I'm from New Jersey, the great Garden State, the People's Republic. Um, I spent my entire adult life as a public servant. I was an Army administrator. I was a naval weapons contractor. I was also a comedian and satirist. And basically, yeah, I was caught up in January 6th. I walked in the building, was in there for about 40 minutes, and that got me about 3 years in prison. But it's better than the full 4 years. So there's that. Oh, and my conviction was just vacated. So I'm glad I'm glad I spent that 3 years in prison for a crime I officially did not actually commit. But hey, it's great to be on here. Thank you for having me again. And what's up? Oh, hey, and I put in the private chat. I made like a compilation of all my cell phone video that just shows literally we're just like singing "God Bless America" at the Capitol. Like that's what happened that day. So that was from my perspective, at least.
Y'all go follow Tim if you're not. Go over there and follow him. Check it out. He always puts up some very, very interesting stuff. I'm just gonna say that. Y'all go and check it out. That way you can understand some of the little mysteries that I've been throwing out there here and there. You know what I'm saying? Go and check him out. Bobby, talk to him, baby.
What's up, guys? I'm Robert Gieswein. I've lived in Colorado since 2014. That's where I was at when I went to the Capitol. My nickname or moniker, Machine Gun Bobby, doesn't come from the Capitol riot. It's a moniker that was given to me through my Second Amendment activism before January 6th. And it just kind of tailed along with me through that, and it's kind of funny, so I like to keep it going. But yeah, I before Jan 6, I was a table games dealer in Cripple Creek, Colorado, dealing blackjack, poker, and roulette, and just other than that, I was a big time Second Amendment advocate, doing freedom walks and trying to petition our state government on different firearms restrictions. And when I came to DC on January 6th, I had the understanding that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were going to be destroying the city again. So I did wear my fatigues and body armor and looked all menacing and scary, but it was just so that I could protect innocent Trump supporters from Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And unfortunately, through the chaos, I got swept into everything and witnessed the police brutally assaulting men and women on the grounds. And I watched the two gentlemen have heart attacks before even entering the building, and got caught up with a couple of assaults on police officers using a chemical irritant spray like pepper spray or OC spray. Not trying to justify any of that. I'm just saying that in my mindset and the way everything was going, it was my belief that I was protecting people from the police.
I'll justify it. You are justified. I know Machine Gun Bobby personally. I know him Bobby. You know, I just say Machine Gun Bobby because it's fun. But Bobby, no, I know Bobby, and I'll justify it. The dude wouldn't go off and hurt nobody without having a reason. I know that from just being locked up with him for so long. Good dude. Same thing with Tim. I never seen Tim hurt anybody except maybe their feelings, because there was a lot of snowflakes around. And he really hurt the feelings of America with his satire, which I found to be so funny that it was crippling. And yeah, I mean, that's it. And everybody knows me. I don't really think I need to introduce myself. I'm Cash Kelly. I'm just the black guy that was locked up in DC DOC with all the alleged scary white supremacy, the biggest threat to democracy in the world. And I don't know how I survived. It would be like throwing a baby seal into a shark tank that was cut open. And I don't know how I made it out. If everybody was just such violent white supremacy, how did I make it? How did I sit down for Christmas dinner with these brothers and we cooking up all kinds of crazy stuff? And I just don't know, how did that happen? How did I live? I don't know. I just don't know.
Cash, this is so hard, bud, because we were locked up for so long, man. I gotta watch my mouth on this thing, bro. I'll tell you what, man. Hey, I wanted to show you guys one of my treasures here real quick that got saved from the gulag. I don't know if you and Tim are on it yet, or if you signed it, but This,
I don't know if I did or not.
This was the shirt, and there's a lot of interesting characters on there. This one might make you guys laugh. Where are we at? Can you see it?
Flagman.
But yeah, that got saved from the gulag along with a couple of other items. I got Jeffrey Sable's Christmas tree and
That's what's up, bro.
shoes from there. Andrew Talkie's Bible. Just waiting for people to start getting out so I can give them their stuff back. But it's nice to be able to save some of these relics.
I threw everything away. I was just over it.
Nah,
I still have I smuggled out my fucking armband. You can see the mold and everything.
Oh, nice.
Just like mom used to make.
My favorite probably is the tattoo machine. I got the tattoo machine.
You still got the tattoo machine?
Yeah. You want to see it?
That's crazy. Nah, don't even pull it up because I don't know if it'll flag us for something. If it make it look like something else, don't even pull it up. But that's crazy.
Yeah,
I would like to see some pictures of it though, so I can post them on my X account.
Yeah. I even got my Islam rug up there still. You know.
Are you serious, bro?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That is nuts. How did you get it? Well, never mind. We don't got to say. Never mind.
I'm
You got
innovative,
it.
man.
That's all that matters.
I got
Salty,
it.
thank you. I appreciate you for real. Salty be supporting big time here too, man. So I really do appreciate all my supporters, everybody that shares the stuff, that likes the stuff, the members, the super chats. I appreciate all of it. So yeah, Free, take this thing over, man. Let's get into this, bro.
Yeah, so you guys touched on it a little bit, but I want to take a step back and say, you know, what was your life like before January 6th and what got you there? Bobby, go ahead.
Well, my life before Jan 6 got really flipped upside down because my father passed away in 2018 from a massive heart attack. Before that, I was taking care of my longtime girlfriend and her 3 children and trying to be an adult and independent, whatever. I was working at the nursing home at the time as a certified nurse's aide for about 3 years before my father passed away. And just dealing with the grief and watching my residents die and stuff like that, I needed to seek a different career path. So I had found a dealer's school out of Cripple Creek, which is where the nursing home I was working at was at. But ended up doing a 9-week program, getting trained up, and I was doing table games, and everything was great. I was doing my activism, Second Amendment walks, table games, and then when COVID hit, I mean, it took everything. Like I was so confused working on unemployment or getting unemployment because I don't like social programs and I don't like receiving my money from the government, especially when I don't work for it. And so I had said, all right, I'm going to take a pay cut and go into what's called drop team, emptying the money out of the ATM machines, out of the slot machines for a little bit less money. And so I could do full-time work still. And they said, all right, well, table games is coming back. So you can go ahead and hop back on table games, go ahead and put in your 2 weeks on drop team. So I put in my 2 weeks on drop team. And then our lovely governor, Jared Polis, had put an extension on the table games restrictions in Colorado, extending it out another couple of months or so. So I said, all right, well, table games ain't opening, so I'm just going to hop back on drop team. And they said, no, your position's gone. So we're not going to be able to fill that. And that was November 2020. And I tried to find a job all the way until January 6th, 2021. And it was kind of sad because I had to use that $600 stimulus just to make it to Washington, D.C. But it was a passion of mine, and I really wanted to be there to support Trump. And my biggest reason I wanted to be there, because I've been to other Trump rallies and conservative rallies and stuff like that, is that I've dealt with Antifa. I've dealt with the social communist parties that go out and attack innocent people and smash them over the head with piss bottles and whatnot. So I wanted to be there to try to put a buffer in between them and the people that were just trying to enjoy the rally. And that's really what got me caught up into the mayhem, so to speak. But It's 100% my opinion, and I think it's very well justified that January 6th was a complete and total setup by the federal government to entrap what normally would be law-abiding citizens like myself into violence of some sort or breaking the law. And my defenses in court were I couldn't use them because I tried to use self-defense and defense of a third party with mitigating factors like mob mentality or some form of temporary insanity based off of the environment. And the government put into motion saying that I was not allowed to use self-defense or defense of a third party, and it was granted by my judge, which was Emmett Sullivan, Michael Flynn's judge at the time. I dealt with the same judge for about 2 years until he dropped my case, and I ended up going to McFadden at the very end of my pretrial. And after watching everybody taking 14 years at sentencing and all these high sentences, I just couldn't justify putting my family through that. So I ended up taking a plea deal for what was supposed to be 2 111As, which is assault without a dangerous or deadly weapon. I got convicted and sentenced based off of those guidelines. 48 months, did 41 months, good time. But in my actual committal, just so that they could make it a violent felony and keep me even more restricted, they put that I was convicted on the dangerous or deadly weapon enhancement. But it makes no sense because I would have been sentenced to 7-8 years, not 4 years. So
You didn't get the First Step Act, did you?
no.
That's why they did it, just so you couldn't get the First Step Act. Otherwise, you would have been out of there in about 35 months.
Dude, I would have been almost time served.
Yeah, that's crazy. That sucks, man.
So Tim, same question to you. What was your life like before, and what brought you to January 6th?
Life before was pretty tedious. So I had mentioned before I was a naval weapons contractor. I had become the union representative for the contractors, and I was engaged in a pitched battle for the universe against the management. I was actually working with my local congressman's office, Congressman Chris Smith, to investigate our employer in the Navy for basically violating something called J6er. J6er basically is the law that protects military reservists and National Guard from discrimination in the workplace. It stops people from having to work when they're on duty. There were years of violations that were going on at the workplace. So that having been said, they're the ones who reported me. My managers are the ones who tipped off NCIS, who then came looking for me after January 6th, and they ended up having my roommate wear a wire to incriminate me. But I was constantly busy, constantly engaged in labor activism. I'm not a traditional Republican. Like I'm a Trump supporter, but I support the labor movement. I'm pro-union, and I'm not an ideologue, despite the fact that we'll get into this, I'm sure. But the feds tried to frame me as a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist. I had mentioned earlier as well that I was a satirist, so they had gone to about a year before January 6th to try to find basically offensive pictures of me where I had a Hitler mustache. It was from satire in which I was doing reaction videos to Governor Phil Murphy when he was locking down the state of New Jersey. This is kind of, well, this is a tangent, but basically I did a reaction video of Tucker Carlson interviewing Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey. And he's like, hey, what do you think about people's rights? I understand, COVID's pretty bad and all, but what about the Constitution? And Phil Murphy's like, oh, Tucker, that's above my pay grade. And it's just like, the Constitution's above your pay grade. So basically, I dressed up like Hitler and I did a reaction video. You've seen those on YouTube. And I'm just like, yeah, emergency powers. Why would you ever question the government? Right on. Yeah, just lock everything down. So that was taken out of context to portray me as a white supremacist and a neo-Nazi. And this is basically why I was denied bond. I was initially granted bail after January 6th by a magistrate judge. The government appealed that decision. And so eventually I also had Trevor McFadden as my judge, my district judge, and he denied me bail twice. And then I was also denied bail another time by the appellate court. But this is I have a very convoluted story. But basically, I believe I was targeted by the government because I was exposing internal corruption. And I think I already had a target on my back, frankly, before January 6th. And some internal documents I have from NCIS lead me to believe I was also being followed at the Capitol by NCIS, including someone who might have been my investigating agent. For those January 6th defendants, typically they don't just get charges; they also have statements of facts. And if you look at mine, instead of your typical "I'm such and such agent with such and such agency," I'm investigating January 6th. Mine says I'm such and such agent from NCIS. I was on duty on January 6th. And so there's a question as to whether or not the feds were following me at the Capitol. And I have other reasons to believe I was, but yeah, I was a victim of a frame job, and yeah, they tried to destroy my reputation, and they nuked my social media, they nuked my Facebook, my Instagram. I lost 10 years of satire. I'd been a satirist since I was 14 years old. I'd played different characters. I'd made comics. I'd made fake music videos, dressed up like characters. Hitler is not the worst thing I dressed as, I promise you. But yeah, thank you.
What an insane story. Oh my God.
Yo, it gets deeper, bro. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
I did not see that coming, and frankly, I found it offensive.
That's I feel that. And it's crazy that we live in a world like that, though, where, you know, it's like if Dave Chappelle, if they was trying to get him for some crimes, and then they use clips from the Dave Chappelle show of him dressed up like Clayton's Bigby, saying that he was
The
in
first
fact,
episode.
the Grand Wizard. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, this was a skit. We all seen this, you know? And yeah, man. So when y'all hear me come on here and I talk about, you know, all these brothers and I try to clear their name, this is why. Because they lost a lot. People smeared them, drug them through the mud. And I feel like that's the reason why God put a black man in there with you guys, man. So I can come home like, no, they not racist, man. That's
You're
a lie.
black? What
Yeah,
the
you know, that's I feel you. I had this. I questioned it myself when I seen myself on CNN when they said that all the January 6ers were white supremacists. I went and looked out literally in the mirror, and I'm like, hold on, wait, what? Am my eyes wrong? Am I like Shallow Hal right now? Like I can't see what other people see. You know, I don't know.
Sorry, sweetie. I think you have internalized white supremacy. I think I need you to check your privilege.
All of this goes super, super deep, but not as deep as Cash's religious beliefs. So just have to put that out there.
Nice. I like that.
Not as diverse either.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I was just talking about that the other day. I told yesterday, I believe, when I did my little daily devotional, told them through the little path that we all been through. With me, it's been like that since I've been a kid. You know, Christian, Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelite, Buddhist, actual Judaism, but not really, Hinduism, in prison, studied the Quran every day. Well, not every day, but almost every time Abdullah worked, I was out there reading the Quran with him, practicing, trying, and more science, got into that.
Abdullah said, well, an officer that shouldn't be named said what's up to you.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. For sure. That's my bro, man. Yeah.
Always play it safe and say Officer A.
Yeah. But you think about all this stuff though, man, and all the things that people was going through while we was locked up. People changed a lot while we were in there. Like people went through a lot of different phases of themselves.
Well, sadly,
being on solitary confinement, it'll do some things to your head.
A lot of us lost our minds, man.
Yeah. Straight up. So it's like, you know, I'm glad that it happened though. We all got to experience some things, man, and figure some things out. But we also got to, I feel like it's a blessing that we all got to be around people that was pretty much like-minded in the sense of, you know, what we wanted for our country. You know, I know, I'll say 98% of us was there, and we were all like, you know, this is deeper than us. The God's doing something. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that. I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah, I think that everybody got so hung up in the conspiracy theories of who's who and who's your friend and who's not. I mean, I fell for that. I try not to curse. I fell for all that stuff too, and that was almost like torture, man. And what's crazy is Jeff McKellop had told us through his Sears training when he was in the military exactly how they would mess with your head, and almost everything he told me came true. Like, you're your own worst enemy when it comes to your mental stability, right? So that was the hardest thing for me, was not only my own internal thoughts of like, oh my God, what was this person trying to set me? You're looking at pictures, you're looking at Discovery, you're doing this and that, and you're like, who is actually on my side? And then it just listening to other J6ers saying the same stuff, and finally you just had to get to a point where it was like, okay, I know what I did, period. So it doesn't matter what anybody else, I don't care what anybody else did. I know that overall we were all there for the right reasons. And if there were feds or whatever in with us, if that is the grand scheme, which I do believe is that it was a setup to for one, crucify Trump and make us look like a bunch of crazy radicals, then that's bad on their parts. That ain't got weight on my soul.
Facts. That's real. That's real right there, bro.
Yeah, man. This is just like Sears school, man. I'm telling you, man.
I'm telling you,
see
man.
this guy on this video? That dude's a player, man. That's exactly what I did over in Kenya, bro.
You see the dookie stains on the wall, man?
There's man spray. There's
There's
man
man
spray,
spray
fecal
everywhere.
matter. There's jizz, man jizz all
Piss.
over the walls.
Piss, shit, jizz, snot, man
Hey.
spray.
Hey, you guys,
Man, bro, I
do you
miss
guys
him.
remember Cup of Salvation, Body of Jeff? Remember
Oh
the
my
candy
God,
jar?
yeah.
I have the candy jar. I have Cup of Salvation, Body of Jeff in that box right
Oh
there.
my goodness, that's crazy, bro. And this is what I mean, though. You see the little things that we able to look back now and laugh at. Before it was just a sad thing. It's just like it brought us laughter while we were there, but that's real. And for those who don't know who we're talking about, Jeffrey McKellop, he got like 3 bronze stars, right? Or 6?
Oh man, he's very decorated. I don't even know, bud.
Green
Yeah, he was
Beret.
a Green Beret, CIA contractor. He was a former Ranger. ODA 102. I don't know the unit, but he was just like that. Oh, yeah, I'm from ODA. Troy Smoxy. No, there was no Smox in ODA. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah,
He was a well of knowledge, though, bro, and he was right about everything. He said what they were gonna try to do to us, and he literally was right. Every little tactic that the government used, and even things that the officers were trying to do, he knew what they was trying to do before they was trying to do it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I don't want it.
Yep. Yeah, that was Jeff. Jeff was a character, bro. He played their own mind games on them.
And
That
then-
was what
and
was
then
crazy.
For anybody that doesn't know the Cup of Salvation, Body of Jeff, that's an inside thing. So Jeff McKellop had this peanut butter jar that he had a bunch of hard candies in, and I think it was his way of keeping people keeping their spirits up. So he'd walk around with this candy jar and just like bump up into you and say, "Cup of Salvation, Body of Jeff.
Yeah.
You want a piece of candy?" And so when he went to the medical in Texas, I took the candy jar and saved it for him because I just thought that would be a cool thing to have later down the road.
Well, I got something for him over here, actually, sitting here. I've been trying to, I reached out to Cowboy Logic, and I was trying to get them to see if they can auction it off because I got the 2 books that General Flynn wrote when I was in Oklahoma. I went to the conference that they were at, and I took some pictures with him, but I talked to him, and I talked to Boone about Jeff McKellop specifically and try to put him on their radar, like, yo, you guys are military guys. This dude's he's down bad in there right now. Is there anything you could do? So they signed this book for me, and I gave them their information about him. I don't know if they reached out or what they got going on, but they signed this book, and I told them I'm going to auction it off to be able to try to raise some money for Jeff. You know what I mean? So I got it sitting here, just put up, waiting for something to be able to happen with it. And, yeah, when he gets out, I'm giving it to him if anything. But, yeah, I was thinking about that brother while I was there. I threw his name out there in front of him.
Oh man,
And-
he's got a big spot in my heart, man. I love Jeff, dude. And what you should realize, and what everybody should realize, is Jeff is being accused of assaulting police officers, right? This man spent over 20 years in the Army. He was a CIA operative, CIA agent, contractor for however long. I knew him personally from Colorado Springs at one of our local gun shops. And oh, look at that little thumbs up. If he with all of his training and all of his knowledge, if he thought that the necessary response was to, quote, assault officers to try to protect innocent people, who is more qualified to make that decision than somebody like Jeffrey McKillop? If this was just a bunch of radicals going and attacking the U.S. Capitol, why is it that we had law enforcement officers, first responders, military, all these different people that were, quote, assaulting the police, and they were just out of their right mind? How are you going to say that? They saw stuff that made them think that they needed to protect the people that were there.
Real talk.
Yep.
You ain't said not one lie.
For those who aren't familiar with McKillop's case, he gave me his discovery and I smuggled it out. It's messed up because like they literally, so like you'll get like different like pieces of discovery or whatever, different files, but they took his, like if he had a piece of video, they would chop it up into like 20 second segments. So you'd have to watch 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, and just instead of just watching the full video. But there are two things that are there are two times where Jeff engaged in assault, quote unquote. The first was when he reacted to the fact that the police body slammed an old woman with a riot shield down a staircase. Yep. And he just reacted to get them away from her because I mean, what man wouldn't flip out over that? And the second time was where he was walking near a scaffold. The cops sprayed him for nothing, and he picked up a flagpole and threw it at the cop that was spraying him. And the cop is suing him for I don't know, I guess he's got sand somewhere, and you know he's getting sued in a civil suit, and it's like we found the body camera. That same cop is later on, he's just like, yeah, this scar makes me look sexy, doesn't it? You know, it's just like so. I mean, you know, it's like I don't think he's a bad boy. I don't know.
Not at all. That's
then,
real though, man.
I don't want to steal too much of everybody's time. I'm just excited here.
No, this is good, bro. This is
awesome. Keep
so
going.
You can talk to people, bro. I want everybody to be able to talk, and my platform is y'all's platform. Just so you know, any J6er, man, especially if I was locked up with you and I know you're a good dude. My platform is y'all's platform, bro. Anytime you need it.
Cash, what was it used to say all the time? Black, white power?
Black, white power. That's
Black,
right.
white power.
Unity.
Yeah.
The body of
do
cash.
the signal different. I used to do the signal different though.
I'm gonna be eating that later. I know it, but that's all right. So Tim had reminded me, or well, not reminded me, but he was talking about Jeff and what led him to his assaults, and I think a lot of people that had assaults outside of, you know, some there. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I think some people went a little bit over the top and whatever. And we're not going to get into that because everybody's got their own story. So we can only talk from what we see. Right. And we don't like people doing the same to us. So I'm not going to do the same to them. But in my situation, I was at the very first wave. I was with the Proud Boys. We were right there through the start of everything. And, you know, when I think what kind of started setting everything off was when you see, what was it? Joshua Black. Is he the one that got shot through the face?
I don't recall his name.
Josh Black. Yeah. You got it wasn't a rubber bullet. It turns out it was a plastic round. But yeah,
the knee knocker.
Ooh.
It's like a 70 cal ball. Yeah. But as soon as he got shot in the face, it kind of really started riling the crowd up, and then they threw the munitions and what have you. But I was standing off to the side, close to the front lines, kind of soaking everything in. And what finally made me snap is I was helping people throughout the crowd wash tear gas out of their, or wash pepper spray, tear gas, whatever, out of their eyes. And there's actually a video where there's a man that's up on the bike racks, and he's like pushing himself up on the bike racks because he's protesting. Then he wants to stand his ground. And the police are just blasting this man in the face, like over and over. Cash and Tim know exactly the video I'm talking about, but I walk up and grab him, and I'm trying to pull him off of the bike racks just to get him out of there. Cause I'm like, dude, there's no way you've taken 5 gallons of pepper spray at this point. And he wants to stand there and do his own thing. So I'm like, whatever, come off this side. Right after that, there's this old man that's got a cane, super nice looking old man like your grandpa with a cane, and he's just bawling, and he's trying to pour a bottle of water straight back into his eyes. And again, he's on a cane. He's probably not good stability, and like falling backwards, what have you. So I ran up to him, and I was like, turn your head to the side. So I turned his head to his side, and I was pouring water down his eyes so we could run the tear or the pepper spray out. And this is on video too. A white shirt officer, whether it be a lieutenant, captain, whoever it was, we're like 5 feet off the front line. All I'm doing is I'm pouring water into his eyes. This officer doesn't focus on the people that are actually pushing the bike racks at the moment, or anybody that's engaging in quote violence. He seeks me and this old man out, reaches over with the super soaker of mace, and blasts us both in the eyes, like just completely destroys us. And so I can't see at this point. I run back maybe 50, 60 feet into the back of the crowd, and there's these two older ladies, and they say, son, you're in body armor. You need to get back to the front lines and help protect us. Sorry, I'm in the furnace room, so I'm right next to the furnace, if you guys hear that. You need to get on the front lines and protect us. And I'm like, look, I'm dying. I'm sitting on the ground throwing up. I got blood coming out my throat and nose and stuff. And so they hand me a COVID mask, and they're like, here, put this on over your neck gaiter, and it might help you with some of the chemicals and stuff. And so I grab it, and someone hands me a water bottle from behind me. Again, I'm maybe 60 feet or so from the police line. Hands me a water bottle. I take a drink out of it, maybe kill like half of it, pour a little bit in my eyes, and I screw the lid on, and I chunk this cheap, I'm talking one of these water bottles, cheap, crunchy water bottle from 60 feet to the cop line. Bottle bounces on the ground, doesn't hit anybody. My first felony assault was Robert Gieswein attempted to assault, maim, or injure these 13 officers that were in danger of being hit by this water bottle. So after that situation happened, someone in the crowd had a can of pepper spray on them. I grabbed the pepper spray, and I said, look, I'm just going to stand off to the side, and if the officers do something to somebody else, I'm going to stop them from doing it. And because I can admit it, I was pissed at this point.
I would be too.
And so I grabbed this can of pepper spray, and I'm standing next to the bike racks, and this lady walks up, and she's being a little bit aggressive. She's yelling at him, whatnot. Officers shove her, like almost to the point where she falls over, and she turns around to flip him the bird. And the same white shirt officer, which I didn't know at the time, but I learned through my discovery, lifts his super soaker up to go and spray this woman. So I got him before he could get her, because in my opinion, she didn't do anything that justified that. And then from there, it just grew. But I'm telling you right now, whatever they say, if they say I have 6 assaults, I will admit that those assaults may have happened. But I want to show the American people why somebody like myself would make the decision. Like I am a huge firearms enthusiast. I have training, and my whole life was firearms training, tactical training, CQB, hands-on. Why in the world would I make the decision to spray an officer as a law-abiding citizen? I've never been in trouble my whole life, unless it was in the defense of another person or myself. And I think people are starting to wake up to that fact now, but at the beginning, it was like nobody had our backs. Everybody had forgotten about us. The first 6 months, we were just a lost cause. And those days still haunt me. So I'll get off my soapbox here.
Nah, you're good, brother. This is great.
Bobby, quick question for you. Do you have social? Terry was asking me if we can promote you on any social platforms.
I don't really. I think my Facebook is just my first and last name. And then TikTok, I think, is Machine Gun Bobby. I think Instagram is Machine Gun Bobby. But I'm not a big time. I'm not. You can ask Cash. All throughout prison, I'm a survivalist. That's what I do.
I was leading up to that story. This man is a survivalist, bro. He would go outside when they would let us have rec. Man, bro, my man was grabbing dandelions and creating dandelion tea. I didn't even know you could do that. But we didn't have no options of anything. So he's like, man, I'm just trying to be creative, bro, so we can have something else in here. You know what I mean? But he knew what he was talking about. I get home and I start looking up survivalist stuff. It started to interest me. And I'm like, yo, this dude knew exactly what he was talking about. Had a whole book dedicated to it. So he's out there looking for the vegetation that's in the book. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But you made it work. Man created a whole salad one time. You remember that, Tim? Created a whole salad from herbs and stuff that he found outside.
Remember one time he almost picked dandelions for someone where everybody was pissing. There was this one corner where everybody just, where there was no cameras. Hey, that
I will
guy.
say this.
Oh, go ahead.
Bobby was very clean with his stuff though. That's why I'll say that, because the man would cook. That wasn't the only things that he did. He would throw down in there. We all would throw down, but Bobby would be one of the ones that's like, yo, I'm gonna go out of my way to. And he made, like, when Christmas time came around and Thanksgiving, Bobby threw together all kind of cakes. You remember that, Bobby? You had like Oreos and whatever it was, man, all the little treats that they let us get off of commissary. And my man literally created like a gourmet style cake in prison.
Yeah, I used to make, as much as I could, I used to make the birthday cakes for everybody on their birthdays and stuff, just try to lift their spirits. And do you remember Robert Morris's Bobby's Kitchen skit that he did?
Yes, but bro, I'll never forget that skit.
Yeah, dude, that stuff had me so low-key mad, but I was also dying inside, man.
Yeah, well, hey, it's humor. That's the thing. What does it say? Impersonation is the best, or imitate. How's it go? Impersonation is the best form of flattery.
Imitation's the best form of flattery.
Yeah, so that's all it was, and it was funny, and that's the thing. See, I know a couple people got mad. I know for sure. What was his name? Coleslaw. What's his name? King Coleslaw.
Chris Worrell.
Chris Worrell. I know he was mad at Fairlam's skit of him. He had the shirt all up, and he's just grabbing at the, just throwing it in his mouth.
Hey, Ryan Nichols' impersonation of his lawyer at the time was the best, dude. And
yes.
All Ryan said was like, what, 2 words or something?
Yeah. I'm telling you, bro. The GOAT though. Let the GOAT say what he did. My man created, because we had somebody in the unit that swore up and down like they was like a prophet. You know what I'm saying? And my man Tim came with 2. We had the re-education tablets, is what we called them, right? Because they try to re-educate you.
Was it David Dempsey that we used for that?
No, it was Tim. Tim did it. Tim came, and he came out dressed in a toga, and he had the 10 Commandments, the 2 10 Commandment tablets, and he pretended to be this dude, and he created these hilarious 10 Commandments for the pod, and for everybody that had to, you had to follow these according to this person that he was imitating. And I cried. I think everybody cried. We were laughing so hard, and bro,
I got an encore. I got an encore from the guards. Now, keep in mind, I am a true comedian and satirist, so there is an official title for that act. It was the 10 Commandments. So just putting that out.
The 10 Commandments.
Hey, we used to roast so hard up in that freaking up in the gulag, man. Yeah. Like there was a couple of times where I remember being orderly with Cash and all of them. When we finally, had some privileges and there's my dogs. Not trying to bring
the sounds are all fine. Don't worry about it.
Not trying to bring this up, but it is crazy to me how like the only somewhat black man in the pod with all the black guards was an orderly before anybody else. I mean, I'm just saying. And then we had to bow to Almighty Cash to get put onto orderly status. But
but you guys were white supremacists though, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Like people just you know how much flack I get on TikTok when I start speaking up for y'all on TikTok. It's toxic on TikTok.
Yeah.
When I speak up for you guys at all on TikTok, and I tell them no, they weren't, bro. Like literally, I was like the head detail for a while. You know what I mean? It's not what you think. And they're like, nah, bro, you lying, bro. You really ain't no J6. You wasn't locked up with them dudes. You lying it up. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, it wasn't what you thought. There's no way I could have been how I was in that pod if that was the truth.
I'm pretty sure I've still got my black card that you gave me so I could get on detail.
I did give you one of those. Yeah. I did. Yeah, and you had to show it to the CO. And once they seen it, they let you out the cell. That's true.
They're like, they looked all close too. They made sure it wasn't expired or nothing. You know what I mean? But
like Family Guy with the Peter Griffin thing, where they got the little fucking
The shades
pink.
up.
yeah. But what I was getting at is there was a couple times I remember me, you, and everybody would be like, hey man, are we roasting on these people a little too much? Like, I don't want anybody to be tying sheets up in the cells right now.
Yes. Yeah, bro. We used to go hard. We did.
I gave no fucks.
You definitely did not. There was a couple times I had to talk a certain somebody off the ledge, that a name I'm not gonna mention, but had to talk him off the ledge because he really did get to them kind of points. And it wasn't just because of like satire. He was just getting to that point with life. Like he was just freaking out, bro. Like freaking out. And I felt for him when he was going through them times. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna go talk to this dude real quick, man. And
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just realized I have like 12 copies of my script from the second Hopium Den, the Trial of Civic, and
bro.
it just I've been going back and forth with well, actually no, Scott's been going back and forth with Ronnie, and it's just funny because I remember I had Ronnie play you, Cash, in the skit.
I remember
that was
hey, Ronnie did good though. I ain't gonna lie. Ronnie did a good job, bro. I can't take that from him. He did a good.
I didn't have another black guy. I had to use a Mexican. It's just whatever.
Hey, you said Civic. I thought it was Bart Simpson.
Oh yeah. No,
you know what I remember that I just Civic. Y'all talking about Civic. You know what I do remember when we let Civic get on detail, and because our detail squad, we was kind of like a clique. You know, we was tight. So they would let us stay out way later than all of y'all. Like we could stay out all night depending on who the CO was, and we'll be playing chess and playing poker. So one day we're in there playing poker, and I forget who was there. I think it was me, Ryan, Civic, and
Fairlamb.
Shane. Was it? No, it wasn't Fairlamb. I think it was Shane or Doodoo, one or the other. And we're all talking crazy and we're making jokes, and I'm roasting somebody, and Civic's cracking up at the jokes. I get up to go out, and he hit me with a good game because I just whooped him. In poker. He hit me with a good game and smacked he smacked my backside, bro. I got so mad I almost beat him. Like they had to tell me, like, bro, it's not worth it. Don't do it. I say, bro, don't you ever? He goes, bro, I didn't know. Like, this is what we do with our brothers. And I didn't know that you don't play like. I said, no, I don't play. Bro, we're in prison, bro. We don't play like that in prison. I got so mad, bro.
That would be that's even weirder for brothers. What is he? What?
No, I mean, you know, in football and stuff, we didn't hit him with a good game or whatever. And he didn't mean nothing by it, but I'm so on call. I'm like I'm on, mode. I'm like, this is prison, bro. We are not playing like that in here, bro. No. Yeah, you cool, we straight, but don't ever touch my booty like that.
hey, so Cash, I'm putting you on blast here for a minute, dog.
Go for it.
There was, to anybody watching, I love Cash, and I love making Cash mad, dude. So
yes.
I don't know if it's appropriate to say
depending, don't say that. Just say alternative lifestyle games.
Alternative lifestyle games in jail can be quite fun. So there'd be a lot of times I'd either walk up super close to Cash and kind of like breathe on his neck a little bit, or give him a little smoochie off to the side, just like this. And it was a buildup for like 2 weeks. I just kept doing it to him back to back, and he's like, bro, ooh, I swear to God, man, you better watch yourself, son.
Yeah, I got pissed a couple times, but you know what it was though, Bobby? Again, it was just like the prison setting. It was hard to be mad at you because you're a good dude. You know what I mean? You're just a really cool dude. You really didn't cause no problems at all in there. You stayed to yourself, and you was my homie. So you got comfortable and start playing and doing stuff like that. But it wasn't like what Civic did. Your stuff was more. You ever seen them funny videos on Facebook or on YouTube or something when somebody goes up, somebody in the store, and they're like, like in their ear. It was stuff like that. And they'll be like, bro, stop playing with me like that. but real talk, overall, looking back at it now, I'm just like, man, I'm happy, especially going to prison, for real prison, and seeing what really does happen. It's like, man, I'm grateful that I was there for as long as I was, because I'm talking about I walked past cells and seen blood doo-doo rags on the ground. Like, it was for real, like, in there. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was. I was grateful that I was in DC as long as I was. I'm just gonna say that.
Me too. After the fact, for sure. Yeah, because I rolled with the independent white boys, and that's supposed to be like supposedly the least political car, so to speak. And man, I tell you what, getting drug into that stuff forcefully, otherwise you have to. There's no choice about it. If you want to survive, you got to do some of that stuff. And that stuff weighed on my mind so much about just making it day in, day out in actual prison. And then I would think back to being in the gulag, and I wouldn't change that time for anything. I grew so much as a man in the DC gulag, as much as, it's the same thing. Like, if I don't personally have siblings like that, my younger sister's like 7 years younger than me, so we didn't have quite the relationship like, same age siblings would. But even if it's your friend that's living with you or your brother's living with you, you're going to get at each other's throats. You're going to want to completely just be done with each other, especially after you guys don't understand living with somebody in a household when both of you are going out working or playing video games or this and that, and you can escape each other. You still get frustrated with that person. You got to think about being day in, day out, 24/7 for however many years straight, talking to each other through the vent system. Tim, that one's for you. Talking to each other through the vents, telling jokes, singing songs to each other and stuff like that, losing your ever-living mind with these people. And they can look at you wrong and it'll be the end of the world. But then you remember, all right, we're brothers. We're in here for the same stuff. I got to just chill. But they're everybody. Any J6er you name, there has been a time that I have wanted to strangle them. And I'll just be honest. But I love them to death.
In honor of the vents, I will issue a correction. Before, I accidentally said, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. It was actually, you can't stand the heat, get out of the spotlight.
Facts. Facts, bro. Yo, Tim, you used to have people on their heels, bro. If Tim started making fun of you, it wasn't just a skit. My man would hurt your feelings. If he wanted to come at you, really, you want to play games? Oh, okay. Watch this. I'm talking about he had people big mad, like crying, literally crying. They're making stuff about me, like crying. And it was hilarious. It got us through a lot of them rough times.
One of my favorite stories, I was just talking to Mink. He's actually pretty sick right now, but he's getting better.
Is he home yet?
Yeah.
No, he's home. He's actually, funny enough, January 6th is when he starts his new welding school.
Bro, I got to have him on.
Yeah,
that was my bro too.
Yep, he followed in Pete and Kenny's footsteps. He's going into welding school, and they loved him. This place out in out west, I think it's Wyoming, and they were just like, yeah, you start J6. So it was actually pretty cool. So, but he's going through the flu right now. But I was just talking to him the other day, and I was just like, this is my favorite civic story, because we were still segregated by tier when it came to recreation. This was after the whole Zach Alam thing the first time. And it's Civic and the 10 Commandments guy, and nobody's talking.
That name that we shall not mention.
Yes, Mask Batman.
Hey, nobody. I'll say it, man. I love him to death, bro. I get it. I get it, man.
No one's talking either, and so like people are just like chilling under the TV room at the end of the hall in that corner there. And so they're just trying to eavesdrop on them. And so like they're pretending to do pull-ups on the pull-up bar, and it's just like everyone knows what they're doing. So when they're not paying attention, I create a poster that said, "Attention, all DOJ employees must work out in pairs." And I put that up there. Yeah. Gas Mask Batman loses his shit, but Officer Civic, he takes the sign when he thinks nobody's looking, and he takes it to, there's that pillar right by the desk that the COs sit at. Because his cell was right behind the desk, so he doesn't take it into his cell like he would if he was smart. He just puts it on the pillar, and I'm like, this dude's gonna use that sign and say I was bullying him, so he could get bail. I'm like, all right. I have to go back in my cell. He runs to the phone. He's like crying on the phone. He's like, I'm getting.
I remember that.
Jordan comes down. I'm like, Jordan, go get that fucking sign he put on the pillar there. He's like, swoops in there like Batman, takes the shit, slides it into my desk. Civic gets off the phone. He goes to the pillar and he's like, "Where'd that paper go?" And he just starts running like a chicken with his head cut off throughout the fucking pod. It's, paper?
Yeah.
Did anybody see that
I remember
paper?
that.
Come on, man. He was like, his hopes were just like on that.
Yo, it was a lot, bro. There was so much stuff up in there that happened. And I didn't even remember that until you just brought that up. There's a lot. There's so much stuff that happened up in that place, bro. And just for the record, I'll say it again. I love all the brothers that I was locked up with. I love them all. I got love for all of them. All I'm saying is some of them are complete. Not. I'm trying to pick my words right because I've been walking. I've been doing this walk, man. I've been good. Jesus,
Yes,
I don't want.
Keep the walk, Cash. Keep the walk.
Yeah,
troll.
it's just you all know what you know what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just
let the troll flow through you.
man, bro, man, bro.
You cannot resist the dark side.
They're all special in their own ways, is what he's trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Very special, very special.
I just want to jump in and say people are absolutely loving this. This is fascinating. I'm enjoying it myself. We flew past 2,000 views. We're over 2,100 views. If you could share it again, if you're enjoying this, let's get as many people in here to hear these stories. I mean, these are just absolutely phenomenal stories, and I'm loving this. I thought I knew a lot. I don't know anything apparently. So
no, bro, there's a lot that everybody don't know that nobody has said it. No one has said those things that we're all waiting to say because we just want to see pardons happen first. That's all.
Inside baseball.
Yeah. You know?
Words of Socrates, I know nothing at all.
There it is. But you know,
feel bad.
Man, I really just want to say some stuff and I'm not going to do it. I'm not
Hey,
because
I've
there's
been-
some stuff
I've
that I
been
just
saying
remembered
that.
talking with y'all that just really kind of like irritated me a
Yeah.
little bit. But I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to let it be.
Hey,
Hey,
one of old Hale over here's best friends. I would like to say some stuff about, but because he wasn't there for all that fun stuff.
What? Who?
No.
I'm not doing that.
Oh,
We'll just say he's a real PS is the initials we'll use there.
gotcha. Okay. Enough said. Yeah, I was gone. When did I leave? I left in like December or November.
I don't remember, dude. I got
We were there
so
for like a
foggy
year and a
after
half,
that.
bro. A year and a half together with everybody every day. I'm talking about there were some people that got so comfortable they would walk by. Remember people used to walk by and just crop dust you? You remember that? Bro, I would get so mad, bro. So mad. I'm like, why, bro? Why?
Hey, that was your homie, man.
Yeah.
Nichols used to do that crap all the time.
Him
bro.
and Megs, bro, used to get everybody all the time.
And then Shane would do it right next to your face when you're chilling back on the little chair.
Shane didn't crop dust. I was about to say Shane was a bomb and he did not care, bro.
No, man, that's a vaccine booster. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, bro. Yeah, good times. Good times,
Hey,
bro.
I'll tell you, man, the last bit of that gulag experience, and look, by any means, like, don't anybody that's watching this, it was not easy. We made life easy in there. I'll tell you, with the hopium dens, with talks on religion, whether we varied completely across the board or roast battles or this and that. We
talking to each other's families on the phone, wishing them happy birthdays, singing happy birthdays to each other's kids and loved ones.
I forgot about that, dude. Yeah, we used to every birthday, as long as we got told about it, if it was like the babies or people's wives or whoever, we would go up and bring a group of like 7 or 8 people up to the phone and sing happy birthday to their families. And just like those small things made that experience, and it made the people that were serving time with us just on the outsides whole experience too. But towards the end, just so everybody knows, we got really, really good at making some drink in there. And so that last little bit was almost a blur to me, because we were having such fun almost every Friday night, being our sneaky little selves with some fermented lemonade that
Megs mastered it.
Oh my God. I'll tell you who mastered it was Dempsey.
Yeah, Dempsey always, but his stuff, boy, you'll get sick messing with Dempsey. Dempsey had some other stuff going on, man.
No, not at the end. When you left,
And what about his stupid hook shot? That's another thing you just make me mad. Playing basketball, right? Because I was pretty good at basketball. And Dempsey, I would cross Dempsey up and everything, pop on him. But Dempsey would always crush me with this stupid hook shot with his super long, lanky arms, bro. He would go all the way out like Dr. J and just throw it like this. And I can't reach over there. My arms ain't that long. You know what I'm saying?
You guys almost threw hands on that game.
Yeah. Yep.
You got all up in his grill, and he's taller than you, so his little beard was dangling in your face, and you're like, dude, I swear to God, man.
Hey, not even just that. Do you remember when him and Ryan had words or whatever, and they tried to run up in Ryan's cell, and I came down, I stood in the door, and y'all not finna go up in my bro's cell, but y'all better back up, man. Back up. That's not happening. And then who was it? Who else? Doodoo. Me and Doodoo got into it.
Hey, but Doodoo was the crap starter, man. He would be like,
Doodoo
hey,
would start. I love that brother, man. I miss him.
Talking about you, man. You need to go down there and confront him. Are you a weenie? Weenie, bro? You need to go down there and talk to your homeboy right now.
I remember when we were playing basketball and he blacked my eye, bro, on some snake stuff, right? And I was so mad. I'm like, nah, man, we running the fade for that one, bro. That's not how we running the fade. And he was like, bro, I'm not gonna fight you. You my brother. I'm not gonna fight you. I said, nah, bro. I'm getting my lick back then. I'm getting my lick back. He goes, what do you want to do then? I said, well, if you don't want to fight me, you letting me get a shot. I'm taking a shot, bro. And I won't hit you in your face. I hit you in your shoulder. And he was like, all right, fine. All right, cool. I had a black eye, so this was fair to me, okay? I went back and just, boom, I hit him so hard in his shoulder, bro, that his whole body flew back on Ryan's bed. You guys remember the bruise that he had right here? My man had a big old purple and black bruise, and then after that, we was thick as thieves again. We was playing poker every night, playing. He used to get mad. I used to whoop him in chess all the time. All the time. He would get so upset, bro, and like a sore loser. I'm like, you're like a child. You're like a child right now getting mad because I beat you in chess, bro. It's a game.
Doodoo probably got it more times than anybody else in the pod, man, because he wanted it. He would ask for it. Like I remember Veterans Day, and again, I love Doodoo McGrew. He's my good homie, but he was a button pusher, and so I can't remember what it was. It was like the first rec we had gotten to go outside, and it was on Veterans Day, and that freaking dummy had the audacity to say something about my mama or something like that. And so I pinned him up against the fence at the rec yard, and he kind of, the officer was right. I can't remember which officer was, but the officer was standing right there, and everybody just kind of looked over like, is he going to do something? And the officer said something along the lines of like, McGrew, if you weren't talking so much smack, he wouldn't have just did that. I was like, heck yeah.
That's my man's, bro. I miss Doodoo, bro.
I love that.
Is that
Go ahead, Free?
Is that the same Veterans Day where Caldwell collapsed because they sprayed the whole fucking pod? Or was that
I think so.
Okay.
That's right, bro. I forgot about that
That
too.
was when we came back inside.
He went out. He was like out on the floor, like that was.
Tell my
that
family
was wild.
I love them.
Yeah.
I can't feel my legs.
I can't feel
My leg. My leg.
I remember that. It's not
So this
funny,
is-
but it is funny.
This is like running itself, and I'm just trying to stay out of the way and let you guys do your magic. But I am going to pop in and ask some questions because I want to be respectful of your time, and I think we could do this forever. But let's go to the actual day itself. And, I'd like you to talk about what the media has portrayed. Did you see, any of the things that have been sensationalized in the media? Did you see stuff that nobody was talking about in the media? Can you talk about the day itself, particular at the Capitol, in the Capitol, things like that?
Who wants to go?
I mean, you already know my point of view. I told you everything that I had seen. It wasn't what I seen until I got back to the hotel and seen it on the news. Like, I didn't see no gallows. I didn't see the guy that had the big old Confederate flag, which I don't think that he was even a real person. He definitely would have been in DC DOC with us if he had been.
Not real. He's a hologram.
Yeah, exactly. No, man, I didn't. Only thing I seen was, hey, was it Ronnie that I seen smoking the blunt and was that him that lit up the blunt in the rotunda? I don't know who it was. I seen somebody light up a blunt. I did see that, or a joint, whatever it was, and I seen somebody swing at the chandelier. That's it. And I don't know who the person was that swung at the chandelier. That's the only crazy things that I really seen. I didn't see where it said people was, putting doo-doo on Nancy Pelosi's desk, or I didn't see any of that. That's not what I seen. I seen the police come out, agitate the crowd, spray the crowd, throw flashbangs into the crowd. I was like 20 feet away from the dude that got hit with the thing in his cheek. I was across from the dude that fell from the heart attack. That's what I seen, and that was all caused by Capitol Police. So,
I'll give my take. I don't know if Geese if you want to go first or after him, but I've looked. Like the reporting on the dookie on the walls or whatever the hell. Like I've looked at so much CCTV. If there was video of someone smearing caca on the walls, like that would be like front and center. That I've never found that. I don't think that was completely fucking
fabricated.
Complete atrocity propaganda. I think that was completely made up. But I don't know if Bobby wants to go before me because I think I was in my own world where I was at.
Go ahead, bud. I'm gonna get on a rant or a soapbox, so you know it. Hit it.
All right. Yeah. Well, actually, I think Cash and Bobby and I we all overlapped at certain points in our where we were at. So look, a lot of the stuff for me is retroactive, and the reason I say that is like there's all this stuff I noticed after the fact because I was not right. Like I had gone so I worked overnights as a weapons contractor. So I actually went to DC right after work when I that morning. So the only reason I even made it to DC in one piece is because I was pounding Bang energy drinks. So like I had gone over 30 hours without sleep. So I just get there. I'm like, yeah, man, we're gonna protest, bro. Why not, man? But like when they're like launching the flashbangs at me, like adrenaline and just like fight, like all this stuff's going through my head. I wasn't noticing half the stuff going on around me. I'm just thinking cops attack. But like since that time, myself, Will Pope, and some others, like we've identified a lot of actual federal agents in the crowd. We know their names. I found some of their homes. I'm not, I know that there were FBI agents in the crowd on both sides, on the east and on the west. There were people using satellite phones. There were Defense Intelligence Agency assets there. I didn't know any of that because I wasn't looking for it. Now, there's another J6 defendant. His name is Christopher Cuny. He was actually a co-defendant of Billy Cressman. And I got to meet him.
Excuse me, my bad. I don't mean to interrupt you, my bad. But Beyonce had one of the best rap albums. I'm just kidding. No, I'll be right back, you guys. I'll be right back. My babies are out there. I think they're about to be leaving, so I'm gonna go give them a hug. I'll be right back.
Good job. So yeah, the Billy Cressman and Christopher Cuny, they were basically set up by this FBI informant. The Proud Boys got infiltrated. The Kansas City Proud Boys, at least, were infiltrated by an FBI informant named James Knowles. He was next to me multiple times. I think he was next to Geesewine too when we were in the Capitol Visitor Center. And so like there are all these things when I actually retrace my steps inside the Capitol. There's crazy stuff all around me. It's not like you got people like, yeah, this is our house. Like that stuff's real, and it's like that's why they're not like they don't want people looking at the CCTV and the video. And it's just like there are things like Bobby was alluding to earlier. Like there are things that we probably wouldn't have done if like we were more self-aware of what was actually going on. But like there's an Overton window to like what is acceptable or like normal behavior, even under really like stressful situations. And it's suspicious. And, like when we were in there, when we finally got access to some of the evidence, we would just spend hours and hours on these crappy little tablets watching CCTV and body cams. And it's just like, that doesn't make sense. There's so much stuff that I missed that day. So my ridiculous, like my convoluted, stupid answer is, there's not a lot I witnessed that day, but retroactively, there was a lot going around me I was not aware of. That's my answer, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm glad you went first, man, because it's crazy reliving a lot of this stuff because you forget so much. Like, I really don't want to be a baby about stuff and say, like, because we got actual brothers that were in the military and have real PTSD, but there isn't there is a little bit of that goes on around January 6th, because when we first started seeing that discovery, it was like a completely different day than what I remembered happening, you know? So we'll start at the beginning because I do have some interesting points. It's just going to be a long story if everybody's down. I had gotten to Washington, D.C. January 4th, and super late because I had driven all the way from Colorado to Washington, D.C., which was about 28 hours plus stopping. So like 30 something hours straight. And I was walking around the city and the Capitol, just checking stuff out. Everything seemed pretty normal. Well, then we come to the next day, January 5th, and the security level on Jan 5th versus January 6th was so much higher than it was on the following day. You had the local police running the city with bomb dogs everywhere, the entire city running the bomb dogs around. And I went to the Freedom Plaza rally that Mike Lindell and some other speakers were at, the Save America or Stop the Steal rally at Freedom Plaza. And there was quite a bit of people there, and I was in my fatigues and everything. So before I left Colorado, on my plate carrier, I used to carry 6 AR-15 magazines, mag pouch. And I knew that firearms were illegal in DC. And I was, like I said, I was coming to protect innocent Trump supporters. So I had taken that mag pouch off of my plate carrier and I replaced it with 2 IFAKs, which are like, first aid packs. And I also had some extra first aid and conditioner wipes for mace and stuff in my backpack, again, because I thought Antifa was going to be there. Now, being the law-abiding citizen that I was, I didn't know what the rules were on any defensive type weapons like batons or anything like that. So I didn't bring anything to be to protect myself offensively in a defensive situation. And a bunch of the Trump supporters that were there at Freedom Plaza said, hey, Antifa's going to be here tonight. They're already posting on their social medias and this and that they're going to be dressed as Trump supporters so that they can infiltrate into our groups and assault people. And so I had several people come up to me and say, hey, do you have anything to protect yourself? Do you have anything to protect yourself? I said no. Finally, one gentleman said, hey, I've got an extra baseball bat in my car if you'd like to use that to protect yourself. And at this point, everybody had me so scared. Not scared, but it's a little intimidating that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were going to be just running the street that night. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and get that. So I that night we went and were looking for where Antifa was going to be at. And the police in the city were actually barricading Antifa on the Black Lives Matter Plaza or Black Lives Matter Boulevard, whatever that stupid street's called. And they were protecting all of them. And even that night, they were assaulting Trump supporters and like had their backs to Antifa and Black Lives Matter and were facing us. And so I was like, man, this is when my mind started to think this doesn't feel right, because any other rally I've been to, typically they're more concerned about the communists than they are the conservatives. So it already felt a little bit fishy to me. So the morning of January 6th comes. It's maybe 6:37 in the morning, and I'm heading to find out where the Trump rally is supposed to be because I have no idea. I heard from a couple people it was at the Jefferson Monument, which I didn't know what that was, and they said the ellipse. I started mapping to the ellipse, and the Kansas City Proud Boys that Tim was talking about, I had seen them on the side of the road, and they were in body armor, protective gear as well, which includes Billy Cressman and Chris Cuney and the FBI plants that apparently they had into Kansas City. Well, I came up to them because in my mind I was thinking, hey, these guys look like they could help me if stuff goes down. They've got my backs. And being in the militia movement for most of my adult life, I knew that I needed that backup in case stuff happens, because I don't want to get murdered out here. I got a family, whatever. Anyway, so I go up to them. I say, hey, would it be okay if I just hung out with you guys today so that I'm not alone in Washington, D.C.? It's a pretty intimidating city. And they said, yeah, but we want you to wear this orange tape on your vest, helmet, whatever, so that we can identify you in the crowd. If something goes down, we know that you're a brother. We can protect you. And well, we'll leave whoever gave me the tape. We'll leave that out just because I don't know how their case is going right now. But we go to the ellipse all together. The Proud Boys all meet at the ellipse, and they say, all right, well, I can say this because he's been sentenced. Rufio, Edward Nordine said, hey, we're going to have a group meeting over here off the side of the ellipse. Mind you, at this point, I'm not a Proud Boy. I run a militia, or at the time I ran a militia in Colorado. I was just hanging out with them, trying to have common people in protection. So their meeting, this was all it consisted of. It wasn't, hey, we're going to go storm the Capitol. We're going to go take this over. We're going to show those cops what's up. It was nothing like that. They said, we are going to walk around the Capitol and protest the election while we look for Antifa. The main goal is we are looking for Antifa because we're keeping them away from the ellipse, because guaranteed they're going to be coming to the ellipse for all these Trump supporters. That's what we're screaming the whole time is you know, F Antifa and this and that as we walk around the Capitol. So we go from the what would it be? The south side, east side, around the north side to the west side of the Capitol, where they say the Proud Boys staged the first attack or the first breach on the Capitol. What they don't tell you in the news is that there's a line of taco trucks on the side street right there on the west side of the Capitol. It's a huge line of taco trucks and hamburger or whatever, Red Bulls, and they got snacks. So Proud Boys said, hey, we're going to stop and have lunch right here because there's a bunch of freaking food trucks right here. And the news makes it out like they had made this grandiose plan to stage an attack right here, but never mentioned the fact that there was 10 food trucks along this street, and that's why we had all stopped right there.
It's also worth noting the CCTV shows on the dome camera of the Capitol that the Capitol Police were watching the Proud Boys all morning. The camera was actually following them as they did their march all day. There was no way in hell the Capitol Police were surprised by the Proud Boy breach, not justifying it or whatever, but there's no way they didn't know they were on their way or even coming close. There's no way possible.
Complete
they were watching them
complete
the
and
whole
total
time.
setup. And I know I keep on talking, but this stuff is important, especially to me. I talked a little bit about what happened on the grounds, right? When I started losing my, however you want to say, I started losing my focus and honing in more on protecting people. So as soon as I started realizing, hey, I need to protect these people in the crowd, not really thinking clearly, other than the fact that there are so many people behind me, there's no turning back at this point. The police are throwing sting ball grenades behind us, which is pushing us further forward. When MPD comes in, they come in from, what is it, the south side and wrap us around, pushing us up to the northeast side of the building, up to the Senate chambers. And through my training, I was thinking, even on the grounds, I was like, man, this seems like a flank. Why are they flanking us up into the building? Because they're trying to keep us out of here. The scaffolding that we breached to go into the Senate chambers was almost completely unmanned by any police officer. There was maybe 2 on that entire scaffolding. And so anyways, we push up through there. We get to the building. I'm knocking. So the flank was my first thought. Hey, this seems kind of odd. I'm banging on the window, not to break it, but like, you know, as a little kid, like, let us in. We're protesting. Yeah, I'm big and strong, blah, blah. All of a sudden, somebody throws a 2x4 through the window, and my brain starts processing like a computer what's going on. And I said, oh my God, people are going to actually go inside. I was like, I've got body armor. I seen what the cops were doing out there. I've got medical supplies. And I legitimately thought, if I have to take a bullet to save somebody, I can take a bullet. And that's why I was like, I'm going to go inside to protect people. Still, I'm not saying that's the most rational mindset or anything, but it's so convenient to me that the man that threw the 2x4 through the window, that initiated the breaking of the window so that we could go inside, at least at the time when I was looking through my discovery, had not been a person of interest or talked to by the FBI whatsoever, was not even on their radar.
He's still not identified, by the way. Pizzola got full blame for breaking the window, but his hashtag is red on red glasses. The Indian dude in the red coat, I believe he's the one who throws the 2x4. Still unidentified. Shocking.
It's a lot of people that's unidentified. Real talk. We got Kenny in the building, man. Bring Kenny up.
Kenny?
Big Ken Dog in the house.
What's up?
Wow. What's up, my brother?
My ninja.
My ninja. This is my brother right here, everybody. This is Kenny Harrelson. He's close with all of us. That's our big bro right there. He served. He's a vet. He used to be still. I don't know how that works with the Oath Keepers, but they tried to pin him as some violent, crazy white supremacist. Obviously, that wasn't true. He's one of the people that I hit it off with like instantly.
Yeah, he's not violent.
Yeah, definitely not violent. He's a very nice guy. Doesn't have a temper on him at all. He's not Cajun. There's none of that there. But this is my bro, man. So Kenny, tell him about yourself, bro. Introduce yourself. I know you came in a little late.
Yeah. I was practicing guitar for a little bit. I totally slipped my mind until I saw the post on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm just another guy that got wrapped up in the bullshit of January 6th. I was in the Army for about 4.5 years. I got medically retired after I suffered some injuries and rehabilitated. Ended up taking a job at SpaceX, worked at SpaceX for a while, and ended up going to January 6th to do some security details for some speakers, and ended up rolled up like everyone else.
You know what's crazy? Kenny? I tell people the story and they don't believe me. So I'm gonna let you, right? When the BLM riots was going on in Ferguson, did the Oath Keepers or did the Oath Keepers not show up there and protect black-owned businesses, even though they say that y'all are some violent white supremacists?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's actually pictures of one of our guys with I think she was a bakery shop owner or some kind of like food services, where he was actually like in kit in her store, standing guard, so her store wouldn't get burned down.
Hey Kenny, do me a favor. Don't put the cigarette on camera for YouTube. For YouTube purposes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
might
Ken.
get me.
Ken, thanks
What's
a lot
up?
for stopping me. Thanks for stopping me from attacking those businesses, by the way. Jesus.
No, man, they did y'all dirty, bro. They did y'all dirty. I speak about you quite often, Kenny, you and Kelly, and try to just put that out there for people, man, because I remember when y'all seen what was being said about you guys and how y'all felt when we was locked up, and it hit me, and I felt instantly bad. I'm like, man, because like I said, y'all was my bros in there. We sat together literally every single day. Every day,
a lot
bro.
of people don't realize that even on the indictment, I mean, there was 2 black guys and a transgender.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the organization is a white supremacist organization that, it's just a narrative that they spun, and they've been working on that narrative. I think the American Defamation League and another organization had already deemed the Oath Keepers as a white nationalist, white supremacist organization through their research, and it was all part of the scheme.
Yeah. No, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'm just glad that you're home. You're looking healthy, bro. Look like you got your chest out, bro. What's going on, man? You been in the gym or what?
Nah, bro. I'm still doing my 1,000 push-ups and handstand push-ups and you pull-ups, and I'm still doing it, bro. I ain't stopping.
I got to show you something.
Uh-oh.
He got lost.
Yeah.
We don't get like the drum roll on your effects machine or something while you're doing like a 20-minute hide and go seek routine over there?
On Pluto TV.
Dude,
Right,
what was
it's upstairs in my
Pluto
room.
TV we used to say all the time, Tim?
That was like Al Capone's vault there, Cash, where you just looked around for like an hour and then didn't
Yeah, my
find
bad.
anything.
I got a ton of books, bro. I got a massive library in my house, so I got books everywhere. I think it's upstairs in my room. I got the calisthenics book, Prison Conditioning.
Yeah, convict conditioning.
Convict conditioning. Yeah, I still got my book.
I got mine too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the book that we used, everybody. That's what we used when we was locked up to get our bodies in shape, man, because they wouldn't let us have weights. They would take our water bags. We would create water bags out of garbage bags and the clothing that they gave us. So we would take the extra clothing and put water in the bag, and we would use that for like curls and all of that. And when we just got tired. Yeah, we got tired of them taking our stuff. So we got the book. I think you were the first one to get the book, right, Kenny? Convict Conditioning? Yeah, and we started using that and just going with it.
It's funny because like 99% of the time they wouldn't care, but like that 1% of the time they want to be petty. Oh, destruction of GL property with the
I had one CO tell me that I could smash the water bag over his head and knock him unconscious. So I was like, "Are you serious? He's just like a big water balloon." Like, come on, man.
Not even that. Like, if you really cared about us doing something violent to you, then why is you in the unit going to sleep?
Right.
Y'all, they would go to sleep literally, bro. They would literally be sitting there like this.
Oh, they were begging to work our unit so they could sleep,
bro. Yeah. But we were supposed to be this huge threat. Like,
it was weird. It was weird. They started taking the water bags more when they were filled up with wine versus water. So I don't know.
You guys are the worst white supremacists I've ever met. When you got black COs that are willing to fall asleep while everybody's out doing their thing and just feel comfortable and safe enough to go to that unit to fall asleep with what's supposed to be the biggest threat in the world. It's wild.
Yeah.
Man, that was
definitely
logs.
A wild time.
They were completely sawing logs in there. Mouths completely open.
I'm telling you.
Dead.
I'm telling you.
We got a question here. Do you guys have any footage that you haven't shared that you're waiting for the right time to share, or maybe won't share ever?
Yes.
Lots. I have my personal cell phone video. Like, I actually released my video as soon as I got out of prison. I wish I could have released it sooner. But a lot of the stuff I did have tucked away is now available. Some of the CCTV. So I guess it depends on what you mean. But there's a lot of video that doesn't really make the rounds.
Yeah, and thousands of pages of notes on the camera footage itself. I mean, because that's all we had to do was sit around in there and look at Discovery, and they provided us all the video footage on tablets. So when we weren't investigating our own cases, we were actually studying the footage to see what was actually went on that day.
Yeah.
I saved Jessica. Jess wrote like 40-page analysis of the first full hour of the riot, and like, well, the cops did that. There's a provocateur here. MPD shot this, whatever. And I scanned that. I put that up. Like, dude, I was like, I had so much crap saved. As soon as I got out, I was just like, just putting all that out there. Yeah, that was crazy. Jess actually like literally sat down and analyzed every single minute from multiple camera angles to determine what actually started the riot. Because there was like this malaise at the. We kind of talked about this a little earlier. Just like watching the videos, just like I don't remember any of that. So it was like, yeah, there was like this fog of war sort of thing. Like afterwards, where like people didn't like just. It was just like, what actually happened again? So yeah, that was very important.
Yeah. You
Hey,
know,
I
got
don't
some
want
stuff.
to be rude, but I'm gonna have to hop off of here.
For sure, bro.
My fiance is super pregnant, so she's
Do
been
your
texting
thing.
me about making some food and stuff. I better get up there. So
I heard that, my brother.
Dude,
job,
really
Bob.
appreciate your time. You got a bunch of kudos in the comments. I've been trying to keep up with the comments, but they loved your stories and they loved that you went into detail and shared your thoughts and feelings about it all. Anything you want to say in closing, or anything you want to promote, or anything you want to leave us with as your takeaway as we're on the 4th anniversary of January 6th?
yeah. I don't want. Everybody has their own way of celebrating or whatever our 4 years of this wild goose chase and witch hunt, but I don't want people to forget that 4 patriots lost their lives on January 6th. That's my biggest focus. So all of our stories about prison and what happened that day and this and that is null and void. Everybody needs to focus on the fact that there were 4 people that lost their lives and are no longer with us. They served the ultimate sacrifice, and we're still here to tell our stories. They're not. So that's it. I love you guys. Miss y'all. Kenny,
Love you
it's
too,
great
my
seeing you,
brother.
bud. You're looking really good. Cash, man, it's crazy.
Don't
dude.
start, bro. Don't
Man.
start. Don't start, bro. Hey, I love you to death, though, my brother. I'm really glad that you're home and you're free and your baby and everything. All the success in the world to you. Anytime you want to jump on here, my brother, this platform is yours. Just go for it.
Just let me know. But I'm out of here, guys. Have a good
thanks for doing
January
this.
6th.
All right, bro.
Thanks for doing this. If you ever set up an X account, let us know so we can promote you and get you followers on here. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And good luck with the baby and everything.
Thank you, guys.
Good job on the baby. I didn't know you had it in you.
Yeah, me either.
Keep in touch with yourself.
Is Cash giving people lessons now or something? Is there a Cash course on this?
I didn't know you could get dudes pregnant, so it's pretty crazy. Love you guys. Later. Happy 6th.
Take it deep.
Oh, man, you got me knocking over my stuff here, bro. Hey, we used to give Bobby such a hard time when we was like that. We didn't talk about it a lot. We did. We used to give him real hard time in there, man. Y'all have no idea. So, that's his way of, that's Bobby's way of, coping. And
That's me and Bobby.
That's Bobby.
Yeah.
He likes a hard time.
You're ridiculous.
All right.
That was funny, man. That was good.
So,
Hey, on
Kenny,
the real
when
though-
did you get out? What have you been up to? How's things going for you?
I got released from the BOP in February, like February 11th. I can't really remember the exact date because the date kept getting moved, and they tried to blame it on the halfway house, but then we found out that it was the case manager that kept changing the dates. So I ended up getting released from the BOP, going to a halfway house, and I was at the halfway house until mid-April. And then I came home and just kind of been trying to put life back together.
What was your sentence? What were your charges? How did that all work out for you? Did you plead? Did you go to trial? Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, we went to trial. We had 9 weeks worth of trial. I mean, at the last indictment, I think they had us charged with seditious conspiracy, conspiracy to obstruct Congress, the obstruction of Congress, obstruction of a police officer. There was a whole litany of charges. I mean, at one point there was like 28 people on the indictment, and every person had something a little different. I think I had 6 or 7 charges. 3 charges related to the 1512, seditious conspiracy, obstruction of a police officer in the execution of his duties, destruction of government property. Went to trial, beat the seditious conspiracy charge, beat the conspiracy on the 1512, and beat the destruction of government property, and ended up getting stuck with 2 1512s, 1512 C2, and I think the other one was C1. I'm not mistaken for deleting a text message or a chat or something stupid. And then obstruction of a police officer in the execution of his duties, because we stood in front of the cop and protected him from agitated protesters. And he did 3 FBI interviews. In the first FBI interview, he admitted that we helped him. The second FBI interview, he said, I don't quite remember. And then the third one, they come up with this whole story that we were part of the crowd agitating and saying racial remarks. And it was just part of their narrative that they painted. But there's a guy out there, Steve Baker. He's done a great job of exposing all the lies and everything that was presented during our trial. I didn't take any plea deals. I didn't even entertain the idea of taking a plea deal, because I knew in my heart that I was innocent, and I weren't going to become Judas and take a plea deal and, make up stories about other people to have them put in prison for 12, 15, 18 years. So I ended up getting sentenced to 48 months in prison. I did 38 months total time out of that. And I got 2 years of supervised release.
And just so everybody knows, the officer that he protected was the big crybaby that y'all seen in the J6 select committee. Big old, the one that looks like a baby. Let me not be mean. I'm trying so hard not to be mean.
The big dark side.
What's his name? I'm just gonna call
Harry
him by
Dunn.
his name. Dunn. Okay, so that way I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying, but when we talk about J6, I ain't gonna lie. It makes me mad when I think about some of these things, man. But yeah, Dunn. He was the one protecting Dunn. Him and Kelly Meggs was protecting Dunn. Jess Watkins, all the Oath Keepers. They stood around this dude and protected them. And that same guy went up there and spoke crazy about them in front of the J6 Select Committee and told lies. They fabricated. That's why everybody was on the J6 community is so upset when people use the talking points of the January Select Committee, January 6th Select Committee. They were lying. They went up there and told a whole bunch of lies. And by the way, for YouTube purposes only and Facebook, none of what we said here today is true. This is all for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay? They went up there and they fabricated stuff. They went up there and they fabricated a whole narrative and tried to push that to the public to make people look like demons, man.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case.
Give you an example. So one of the committee hearings that they aired right before our trial, which was about the Oath Keepers, right at the opening of the committee, they put a picture up of a gun safe that had this multicam painted AR-15 looking thing inside the gun safe. And they, look at this big automatic rifle that these Oath Keepers had. It was an airsoft gun. The FBI took the airsoft rifle and put it in the gun safe and took a picture of it, and they used it. During our trial, they tried to submit like all my airsoft stuff. They tried to use, I had these things called Thunder Bees. So they're like a little plastic container that hold a CO2 cartridge that makes a loud pop, pop noise. They tried to introduce those into evidence as explosive devices, because that was the narrative they were trying to spin, that we were some kind of big spooky militia that, for one thing, I'm pretty sure like militias are volunteer fighting forces, right? You don't pay a membership fee and dues to be a part of a militia. At least I've never heard of that before.
No.
The Oathkeeper's website even specified that their job was to support local law enforcement and keep order. So
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense there, does it?
No.
No.
But they wanted to go along with that narrative that had been painted by the American Defamation League and the other think tanks.
Are you talking about the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL?
And what is it? The other one? Is it the ACLU?
No, that's the American
ACLU
Civil Liberties Union.
Yeah, ACLU is one of them.
Oh,
And the Southern Poverty Law Center has gone after you guys hard too.
Yep, that's another one.
communist.
The one that was actually in the news today was not only are you not supporting law enforcement, but you've infiltrated law enforcement and you're basically corrupting them and bringing them into your organization now that you've corrupted them.
Yeah.
They did that with the I mean, there's no they said, oh, it's the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and the 3%ers. Well, there's really no group called the 3%ers. Just people who call themselves that, and they have like stickers on their cars and crap like that. But when we first started getting like evidence and stuff, the Global Discovery, I was going through these reports. There was like a Capitol police officer that got he got a stern talking to because he had a 3%er sticker on his car, and they thought that somehow made him culpable as an extremist. So I mean, that just goes to show you how the narratives framed how they went about this. So.
You live in honestly, bro, we live in an evil time, man. An evil time with a very evil government, bro. I stand by that. Our government is so corrupt and evil, bro. To be able to try to really what it comes down to, the way I see January 6th, right, and what they really was trying to do, the whole end game for them was to try to grab more power from the people by pushing this boogeyman narrative of white supremacy is a big threat. Keep people on the edges of their seats. If you're black, be worried about these white supremacy threats. If you're a Democrat or you're a part of the alternative lifestyle, or the love who you want to love movement, you got to be fearful because these people are trying to take over the nation, and then keep people distracted on that while they slipping things through through Congress and passing these bills, taking money from the American people, and passing a whole bunch of weird laws. Like people forget how the Patriot Act even got signed into laws because they made people terrified about January 6th, about September 11th. And that's exactly the style of thinking that they had with January 6th.
Which is ironic because terrorism is, by definition, using fear to achieve political aims.
Facts.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Serious.
Biggest terrorist organizations in the world are governments,
Facts. Ruled by the
G.I. Joe. Oh.
So again, kind of to bring it to today and the significance of today, what are your takeaways? What do you want people to know as you reflect back on, all the things you went through? Anything you want to share? Can you throw some of that stuff out there for the people watching?
Who you talking about? Me? Anybody?
Anybody.
I mean, everybody knows my take. I'll leave the floor to Tim and Kenny. Y'all go right ahead. I've said it a lot since I've been here.
Well, Kenny just got here, so I'll let him go first before I get on my soapbox.
Right.
Give a dissertation.
Well, I just hope the whole situation, people can look past the narratives that were painted and see the events around January 6th is what it actually was. It was a big psyop. People don't realize that the government was trying to recruit members of the Oath Keepers prior to January 6th. As early as September, October, they were trying to recruit members of the Oath Keepers. The fact that they were inspecting and certifying the facility that they held us at, which had been condemned and closed down a month before January 6th. It's no coincidence that they ended up putting everybody in this place. They knew what they were going to do. I just hope that the future, everything comes out, because that's the only way we're going to be able to heal from this, is that, everything's got to be laid bare on the table. So everyone knows exactly what happened, no ifs, ands, or buts. And just know that, the government, they can come down on you in any way they see fit, especially when the wrong powers are in government.
That's a fact.
We live in a constitutional republic, and it's supposed to be by the people, for the people. Those people up there in Washington, we don't bend the knee to them. We are their employers. And, I just hope that, people come to realize that.
Before we keep going with Tim, I want to address the question, and then I want to play something for you, Kenny. But the question that I want to hit on is, it says, okay, guys, a question for you. Did they force you to get the jab in jail? Were you able to decide? I would tell you right now, we weren't forced per se. It was really coercion, if you want to be real, because they told me, and being there after a long year, that I couldn't see my kids. We couldn't shave. We couldn't get haircuts. We couldn't do anything unless we got the jab, right? So none of us wanted to take it. None of us. We were all opposed to it. And me, I broke because I'm like, I got a lot of kids and I missed them, and I hear them crying on the phone, or, whatever's going on at the house. And I really wanted to see my baby. So they told me if I get the jab, I'll be able to see my kids. So it's been forever. And I'm like, you know what? I would love to see my kids. And before I see my kids, I'd love to get that haircut, be able to get myself lined up so they don't got to see me looking like a wolf, and I got it. After getting it, they told me you cannot see your kids because they're not 18. And I told them I had small children, and that it happened to be a lie. There was families bringing their, people bringing their families up there, small children and all, to see people in DC DOC. They lied to us and wouldn't let us see our kids. So even more into the persecution against us just because of who we voted for. You know what I'm saying? So that was my take on it.
Yeah. No, that's facts. You know what I mean? Because you weren't the only one. I think Ryan did the same thing.
Yep.
They dangled the kids in front of them, and I could understand. I could fully understand why you would do so, especially in the situation we were in, and we were all kind of desperate to see our families, and stuff. But it was, I guess the good thing with me is I had a good attorney that was, and it's funny because he filed motions in court regarding the vaccine and the violations of the Helsinki Accord and the Nuremberg Agreement, where they weren't allowed to use prisoners, either prisoners of war or criminal prisoners, as guinea pigs for vaccines. And that's exactly what they were doing to us.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so before we move forward, this is something special I would like to play for you, Kenny. So 1 second, let me hook this thing up to my Rodecaster. All right, we got that hooked up. Volume pretty decent. Let me know if you guys can hear this before we let me do a test run.
If it's the Boats and Hose song from Step Brothers, I'll die.
No. Can you guys hear this?
And he's like pushing himself up on the bike racks because he's protesting.
Yeah.
And he wants to stand
y'all
his
can
ground.
hear it. Okay.
And
all right. So now let me go ahead and play it.
You came into my life, a lover and a friend. Since 09 through thick and thin, we'll transcend with the strength of a fighter. You've carried us, never giving up, building.
Oh man, hold on. We got to keep that going.
Police are just blasting this man.
Oh my God.
Bobby's still haunting
Sorry. No, this got to go. This got to go. Hold on.
So I just started blasting.
you.
Of a fighter. You've carried us, never giving up, building dreams we trust. And if you're my light, my fighter, my guide, through the storms and waves.
This isn't from me. This is from your wife. So everybody knows.
15 years strong, our hearts ever entwined. Kenneth, my love, you're one of a kind. We've cast our lines, fished in quiet streams, riding the roads, sharing our dreams, nestled close in the warmth of your embrace. We've overcome mountains, nothing we can't face. Kenneth, you're my light, my
Hey, she
fighter,
snapped, bro.
my guide.
Yeah.
Through the storms and waves, with you by my side. 15 years
She got down. This is
our hearts
touching.
ever entwined. Kenneth, my love, you're one of a kind.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there so we don't take up the whole show with it. But she asked me, she messaged me and asked me if I'll play this for you live, so she can get it out there and everybody can hear it and get your reaction live. So, yeah,
That's his
that
wife playing that?
That's his wife. His wife wrote the lyrics to this song for him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got down.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I know people were like, "Wait, Cash, you're dedicating this to Kenny right now?" No, this is his wife. His wife just messaged me on the
I love
phone
you
and
too,
asked me to
bro.
play it.
Is there a link or anything that we can post for that? If you come across it, or if somebody can stick it in the comments, I would love to promote that. That's just gorgeous.
That was
Absolutely
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Everything any girl writes for me is in court papers, so that was much better.
All right, Tim, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you, brother. Go ahead. Do your thing. Soapbox.
What was the question again? So, I think that there's a million different directions I could take this down. Kenny and Cash, they discussed like the COVID thing, but I mean, the truth is that, yeah, they treated us like guinea pigs, and yes, they deprived us of our civil liberties. But I mean, I think the deprivation of rights is the real story there, not just the COVID thing itself. Because keep in mind, they held they used the shot to hold you hostage over visitations, sometimes even visitations with your lawyer, and then also with grooming. But they also held you hostage for religious services. We just were not allowed to have religious services. We couldn't take communion, and it seems as though every civil liberty within the Bill of Rights, including the 14th Amendment, was really just held hostage. And sometimes they would do things like the COVID thing, where it was sort of like a carrot being dangled in front of a horse. But I think it was really an institutional thing. I know this was more of a lighthearted conversation for most of this, but I mean, really, we were denied religious observation. We were denied adequate means of addressing our grievances. The grievance process was broken, and that jail was virtually non-existent. They denied us our evidence. They denied us access to our lawyers. They denied us access to our families, denied us adequate nutrition, very rarely even allowed us outside to get sunlight. The cells we were in were dilapidated and full of mold and human excrement in many cases, poor plumbing, and you could just go on and on and on. And this is on top of the solitary confinement that plagued us for the better part of a year. And so,
anyway, my soapbox thing was actually going to be not so much that, but it was going to be really a warning to America. And I don't want to hijack this, but I usually do this. I say this I try to drive this main point across anytime I do a podcast or an interview, and it's that I love our justice system. As stupid as that might sound, I believe the American justice system, which is rooted in common law, which we inherited from the founding fathers, who inherited it from their ancestors. I think the common law system is actually a really great legal system compared to those around the world. It's just that the people who control the system are corrupt.
Facts.
And you're going to get this anywhere in the world. And it's not just because, and I agree with Cash that our government is corrupt, but America is not uniquely corrupt. And Americans are not uniquely depraved. And it's just, again, I come from an old school, fire and brimstone perspective. I think humanity in general is subject to corruption, and that's just true of all of its institutions. But because I love the common law system, I don't want to return. I don't want an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, though I do believe in justice. And I want those who, as Kenny said, I want the truth to come out. That's the only way we can reconcile things and move on. The only way to break the darkness is light. And the only way to expose lies is truth. And this is sort of a formulaic thing in my head. Maybe I'm pedantic, but it needs to be said. If we return, if we continue to do what our enemies have done to us, it's just going to spiral the republic into despotism, and it's going to destroy the very things we want to save. And so I want justice. I want those who did this to us held accountable, but I don't want revenge, and I don't want to go on a crusade like was carried out against us. I believe, like the Bible says, vengeance is mine, so says the Lord. I'm not the Lord. I want justice, and I want our institutions to just do their job, and that's where it should end. I don't want a never-ending cycle of retribution. So that's my warning to America, I guess.
100% agree, bro. That's real. I don't want that either. I don't want a political witch hunt. I would rather us get to a better place entirely in our country. I don't want the political divide. I don't want to be divided from somebody because they don't like me just because I'm a Trump supporter. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather them look at me and be like, yo, he's still an American. And, he does a lot for the kids in the community, or whatever those things are. He's a great father. Not my political beliefs. I don't want them to look at me and judge me based off of that because of what they believe from the media that they said about the guy that I voted for. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've gotten to this toxic place, and, we got the shirts that say retribution and all of that. But in my heart of hearts, man, all I want is for America to get to a better place, to a place where we all looking at each other as countrymen. You know what I'm saying? I would rather see the Justice Department uphold justice, because you're right. We have the best. It's not even a probably. We have the best justice system in the world. And like you just said again, other countries, I say we got a messed up government, but there are far worse governments. We probably, compared to our corrupt government, we probably have the best government in the world, but we can do better. And that's what I feel we have forgotten here in America. We used to strive for greatness on all fronts. That's what we used to strive for. America was about greatness. It was about producing the best. It was about being the best. Everything. We took pride in the Olympics. Like every facet of American culture used to be promoting what was the best. I'd like to see us get back to that. Get back to being the best at things, and really being the best at doing what's right, doing what's good. And not this thing that we've mutated into where it's okay to persecute these people because of who they voted for, but not these people, even though they didn't vote for this person, but they're doing horrible things.
Yeah.
Facts.
If one good thing that came out of this is our situation showed the American people how corrupt the system is. I'll give you an example. I was locked up in Atlanta with a guy. He was a Cuban. He migrated here in the 70s with $2 in his pocket and his daughter. He worked his way up, became an American citizen, ended up being the owner of a horse ranch in North Carolina. So to pay back, what he had went through, he was taking on guys that had came to the country working through visa programs. Well, the jobs he was working these guys were seasonal jobs. So part of the year they'd work on his ranch, and the other part of the year they'd go do other things. Well, some of the guys he had working on his ranch got caught smuggling drugs across the border. They were from Mexico. They were here with green cards and work visas. But on the off season, that was their thing. They went back to Mexico. They worked for the cartels. Well, they found his information in one of their phones. So they came to him and asked him if he would testify in their criminal case against one of these guys to convict them. And he told the government that he didn't know what those guys were doing when they weren't working for him at the ranch, and that he didn't feel right taking the stand and lying to convict these men to prison sentences. And the government turned around and charged him with a conspiracy charge because he wouldn't testify against these men, but because his phone number was in their phone, they came up with this grand scheme of how he was conspiring to work with migrants bringing drugs across the border. And they gave the man 20 years in prison.
Wow.
They didn't catch him with drugs. They didn't catch him with doing anything illegal. All they caught him with was, well, they didn't catch him with anything, actually. They caught the guys coming across the border. And like I said, his contact information was in their phone because those guys were working on his ranch. I mean, I went through the guy's jacket. You know what I mean? I went through the paperwork and looked at it and was like, damn, dude, you got fucked. And like he was a genuine good dude. There's a lot of good guys in the system as well that just made poor decisions. The fact that they load these prisons up with guys with 20 and 25-year prison sentences for non-violent offenses is just baffling to me. But I came across a lot of guys that were just good dudes that made poor decisions, and it all falls back into the corruption of the way the system is, because it all turns into a money scheme. The BOP is laundering our tax dollars. They're using the prison system to launder our tax dollars to fatten the pockets of the bureaucrats.
I heard that, bro. I heard that. I don't think I could have said that no better myself, man.
Yeah.
I've been talking about the prison system and the things, people that I met and stories that I've been told, and just seeing people, bro, go through the things that they go through.
What was the work program? Unicor, right?
Unicor, yeah.
Unicor. Right, so check this out. The federal prison in Atlanta had a Unicor building. They used to make mattresses. Well, the building had been condemned and closed down. So they brought inmates in as low-level security, and they were supposed to be put in a camp. There's a camp right outside the wall of Atlanta, but all the buildings are condemned. So they brought like 400 guys from other prisons. They were supposed to remodel and rehab these buildings for this camp so they could work the Unicor program. Well, there's no camp. There's no Unicor program. So they're taking these guys out of their cells at 6 o'clock in the morning, carrying them down to a garage building, having them punch a time card, carrying them back to their units and locking them down, and then taking them back out and punching them out. So they're collecting money, telling the government that they're running these Unicor programs, but they're actually not.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just using inmates to collect money that the money's disappearing. I think the warden that was there right before I got there ended up getting indicted for embezzling funds.
That's real, bro. That's real. I feel like this is me. Y'all know how I get, right? I swear to you, the prison system is legalized slavery, bro. But the 13th Amendment just has a whole new meaning to me. And seeing people, chained up, like the horrible thing that you got to go through right before you even get into where you're going to be housed at. They got to strip you down. You got to be chained up. It's so degrading. The whole experience is just degrading. And then you're told what to do by somebody is more corrupt than any person that you see locked up inside this place. This person, this CO over here is bringing in the drugs. Yep. This CO over here is sleeping with dude. You know what I'm saying? It's all kinds of stuff going on. They bringing in the cell phones that you catch a shot for. And it's like you're bringing in the cell phones that could potentially put somebody else at risk or put your life at risk. And you get to go home every day. And then the people are just okay with having this system. So the justice system, though it is probably better than everywhere else in the world, the housing system is far from the best in the world. And I say that because you see examples of places like Korea or the Netherlands or all these countries that are supposed to be beneath us, but they have a system to where the recidivism rate is just so low. So it proves to me that even though we have the capability of being the best, we don't want to be the best because that's what they're trying to be the best at. They're trying to be the best at incarcerating people so they can make money, so they can launder money, so they can do the things that they do to make their pockets big. And they incentivize people to go back to prison. And if they can't incentivize it, well, then they'll create laws that'll make sure that somebody's going to jail because these people are doing this thing naturally, And it blew my mind, bro, just studying this stuff and looking at it in a deep. I don't talk about it as much as I should, but that's something that is like moving forward. After all this is done and I'm off probation, I got to advocate for it. I've got to. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I think I think with actually first Kenny, I had our warden. There was a warden that I guess went to prison because something with the contracts there. They wasted all the money that was supposed to go towards air conditioning for our units to put in this pointless chain link fencing around the rec yard when there was already a perimeter set up. So yeah, I guess the warden's brother, she paid him to set up those fences instead of giving us air conditioning. So that was nice. Yeah. So but that stuff happens. There is a level of nepotism all throughout the Bureau of Prisons, and part of that is, I guess I was just going to get to that, is that a lot of the corruption you see in government, and I guess you could also attribute this to or apply this to business as well, but a lot of the corruption, I think, is not inherently due to conspiracies, but really a coalescing of interests. And so I think a lot of the nepotism, I think a lot of the things that we all just talked about wouldn't exist, especially the incentivization to, let me acknowledge also that our justice system as it is right now with the people in charge of it, its main priority is convictions and not justice. That's why they have a 90+% conviction rate, primarily from plea agreements. Most people don't get to see, a trial anyway. So I think that's the issue, and that's an issue right there. But also I think that there's where a lot of this meets is that when this country was founded, the executive branch of the United States consisted of George Washington and John Adams, the president and vice president. That was it. Eventually, you got Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State. You had Hamilton as Secretary of Treasury, and you had Knox as Secretary of War, and you had an Attorney General. But you only had an Attorney General. You didn't have a Department of Justice yet. And so gradually, you've gone from a Department of War, Treasury, and State to Department of Interior, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of, and so on and so on. There are over a dozen, right? And so the executive department, the executive branch has grown and over to the point where it really does seem like Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan. But even more than that, I think that how do I put this? Well, basically, I think that the state has found a way to turn pretty much anything into a crime. And while I believe in, there are different interpretations of the Constitution. You have something called the necessary and proper clause in the Constitution that says, well, Congress has the right to pass laws that are necessary and proper to it fulfilling its other functions, right? So you have a central bank, theoretically, because it's necessary and proper for Congress to pass a law for it because of the power to coin money or whatever. I'm not saying that's true, but that's the theory. Well, I think that over time, we have just accepted this idea that because anything can happen across state lines, that it ought to be the purview of the federal government. It could be, but should it be? Ought it be? So there's is and there's ought. And I think over time, the federal government has just decided that everything ought to be federal. And so a lot of the criminal justice issues, I think, are a result of the never-ending expansion of federal criminal justice, because the federal government takes over jurisdiction over things that could easily be, and frankly, ought to be either local or state jurisdiction. So I think that's incentivized the snowballing of the federal bureaucracy, but also of the prison system at the federal level. I think if we got rid of the tendency to make everything a federal crime, then you wouldn't have this issue, and it would be at the states.
It used to be Club Fed, right? Club Fed. You used to think when you go to the feds, it's different than when you go to the state, and now people would rather go to the state than go to the feds because the feds used to be like high profile mob. It used to be something that was just way out there, right? Now you go to Chicago, bro, you get caught with a banger, you going to the feds. You got violent criminals locked up in the feds with people with most of the people in the feds have nonviolent charges. Literally, most of the people in federal prison have nonviolent charges that I've come across. And it blows my mind. Like, what are you even doing? Why are you even here? And it's because, again, of laws that was created at a time when they were trying to make money off of people being locked up, like the RICO law. The RICO law was supposed to be for like the mob. Now the RICO law, that's what was used against the indictment that I was in. I didn't get it. I got a conspiracy. But the RICO is supposed to be for some really high profile, not low level gangs. Now they use it if you start a militia, right? You start a militia and you have a manifesto. Automatically you could be RICO'd because you have rules and guidelines and regulations. That's what they use the RICO law for now. If you have a group of people right now and you create a manifesto for a group, you don't even got to name it. You just have a manifesto. If you're going to be a part of this group, this is what we're going to go by. They can literally hit you with a RICO charge.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, is that like the, one of the things about the common law system is that it's based off of precedent, right? And so, yeah, you have statutory law, but through the courts, you have precedent. And so this idea is that over time, different rulings kind of sort of evolve the justice system to keep up with the times, but we don't have that with our statutes. With our statutes, we could, there's nothing stopping Congress from repealing old laws, but that doesn't happen. And so, like with the Oath Keepers, with the seditious conspiracy charge had to do with Confederate generals or Confederate officers. The civil disorder. That had to do with the Civil Obedience Act of 1968. That was about the race riots. That was about stopping civil rights protesters.
But now you understand why they had to paint them as white supremacists. That's the whole reason why they needed that white supremacist narrative to be able to charge them in the first place.
Like
with that.
The civil lawsuit that's going on with us now by the District of Columbia, they used the KKK Act to bring the civil lawsuit.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
And the obstruction charge had to do with Enron. It was the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and it was a substatute that it was created in 2003 after the Enron scandal. And so, it not only are these misapplied, but they're also anachronistic. And so, I think in the future we should a responsible government. Like I see conservatives, they say for every new one law they should repeal two. Like, I'm not saying it should be that ratio, but I think that a responsible government needs to modernize its laws. Because I don't know about you guys, when I first went to prison, I was like in a quarantine, so they just had us in this dump of a building, and I found the federal code, and I was like, I'll try to educate myself about the specific statutes or whatever. And there's like 18 USCs because of the different titles of federal code. It's
super huge. Yeah.
Like, first off, a normal person is never going to know about half of that. So they're always going to be at risk of being a criminal. Like the justice system, one of the
concepts is that an average person should be able to know what the law is. That's the first thing. The second thing is that's insane, because this just goes back into what we're talking about. This isn't about the Bureau of Prisons per se, but think about the legal think about the legal industry.
Look at lawyers. The lawyers, we figured this out while we were locked up, bro. The lawyers don't know law. They know procedure of law, because you had us telling our lawyers statutes that they should know and codes that they should know. And all throughout prison, that's the theme. You hire a lawyer, your lawyer don't know everything. So you start studying your case and you're sending things to your lawyer like, yo, you need to look into this and see how it compares with my case. And you find out real quick that your lawyer does not know anything except how to file. Your lawyer don't know not even an eighth of what is in them codes.
The proper verbiage to write a filing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
But go back to like the RICO and stuff. Another charge that they use that's broad is the conspiracy charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible to beat a conspiracy charge because they can go off of hearsay. You know what I mean? They don't have to prove that you did anything, but they can get like
2 people to say you did.
Yep.
That's it.
2 people
all
to
it
say
takes.
you did.
That's it.
And so here's an example. My cellie in Atlanta, he got caught in a state case in Florida. He was at a home that wasn't his, that got raided. He beat the case in state court, beat the case in state court.
Then the feds picked him up.
The feds picked it up. The guy the house he was at had already been found guilty. So the feds went to him and got him to take a plea deal on the federal charges to testify against my cellie, to say that he was a part of this grand scheme organization to sell narcotics throughout northern Florida, when it had already been proven in the state that he had nothing to do with what happened at that house. But because they brought a conspiracy charge against him and they had this cooperating witness to verify everything, he ended up getting tanked for 10 years.
I've been there, bro. I know all about that, and it's unfortunate because that's how they do it. You beat it in that. Imagine how great you feel you beat something in the state. Then the feds come. They got a 99.9 or 99.7 conviction rating, right? But this is the statistic that they don't tell you. Do you know their overturn rate? The feds' overturn rate, I think it was something crazy like 80%. 80. How do you get a 99.7 conviction rating, but have so many of your cases be overturned later on? It lets you know that this is a scam. Y'all are rigging it. You're getting a lot of young people locked up, and then you're coercing them or threatening them, right? Under threat of duress, saying, look, either you're going to take this plea or we're going to give you this amount of years. And they're freaked out. They don't know. All they know is they got a 99% conviction rating. So then they take the plea, and then you take that plea, and what does that do? It screws your co-defendants, because now you're admitting, yep, I'm guilty. Well, that means that they're guilty because they're saying that in a conspiracy, y'all did this, not just you, y'all. And that's exactly what happened with me.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened with me.
Yeah, well, that's like in our case. They use Facebook and Instagram. They use social media to tie the conspiracy together. They used a phone call that was made. So the Oath Keepers were going to provide security for a couple of rallies. They went to one and they were engaged by Antifa protesters. So on this phone call, they were preparing to go to another rally, and they were talking about ways to defend themselves against Antifa. Well, they used that, and they said, well, this person was on this phone call. So this phone call is the start of the conspiracy. Before January 6th was even announced, they tried to say that we were conspiring to overthrow the government in, I think it was November 9th was the phone call. And then it's funny because the guy that they ended up using to verify the phone call, which turned out to be one of the confidential human sources, he had his name changed 8 times all 8 times he had his name changed because he had been charged with sex crimes, pled out to them, and then changed his name. He had been a member of the Oath Keepers under these names, and he had called the FBI several times on Stewart Rhodes.
Wow.
And they deemed his intel as hearsay and not valid. But then they turn around and use him as the corroborating witness to verify the phone call to say that was the start of the plan.
It's a dirty game, bro. I'm telling you, that people don't realize how screwed up it actually is. And again, not the whole justice system, because the judge's job is just to sentence you. That's the judge's job. But the people that bring the cases against you, this is why we go so hard on the Department of Justice, right? Because the people that are bringing these cases against people in the United States of America aren't bringing it to serve justice. They're bringing it because they need a conviction.
Yeah.
They need it because somebody somewhere got some
bonuses.
stock in the business, in the prison business.
Well, they're getting bonuses for numbers too. It's just like the program they've installed into the FBI where they get bonuses for the amount of cases they get. It's the same way with the assistant U.S. attorney's offices. You know what I mean? They get bonuses for getting cases and convictions. So
yeah, my
they don't
public
care
defender
about
got 10 racks just for nothing.
Yeah.
$10,000 because she said she represented me. Like, what? And you show up and talk to me for 15, 20 minutes. That's it. That's what the legal system is right now when it comes to you getting a public defender and you got a federal case. They come talk to you 15, 20 minutes, and you get 10 racks. There you go. It's crazy. It's crazy. Since 2007, the Supreme Court has reversed lower court decisions in approximately 71.3% of the cases it has decided. That's what I'm saying. That's insane. Insane. That's a very high number. So out of all them convictions, 71% of those convictions were false? Are you kidding me?
The other interesting thing I found too is that only 2% of all federal cases go to trial, and half of those are acquittals. So, they use the lawfare technique of, forcing people into pleas by overcharging them.
That's why they got such a high conviction rating. And then this is where they get you real slick at. They put in your plea agreement that you cannot appeal. The only thing you could do is file for a habeas corpus, and they not going to let that happen. They just hit you with that. Look, we'll give you this plea, and instead of you getting 1,000,000 years, we're only going to give you 100. Okay, you'll be out before your body starts to decay. And by the way, once you take this plea, you can't appeal it. That is a raw deal right there, man.
Not to mention the guidelines, a 3-point reduction versus a 3-point enhancement between taking a plea deal versus getting convicted.
Yep.
Yeah. Incentive, like not for nothing, like taking responsibility if you are in fact guilty, like that. There's something to be said about, okay, maybe showing leniency or mercy, but the sheer, again, 3-point reduction versus enhancement, that's a 6-point difference. Is it justice where if you are in fact guilty of the crime, that it should be a 6-point difference depending on whether or not you put the government to its burden?
Right.
I really don't think so. I think
that's practicing your rights to force them to prove.
Yeah. And the sadder part about it is how many people are actually incarcerated right now simply because they were scared not to take it to trial and they were innocent. And they took the plea deal because they knew if they didn't, they're going to get at least double the time that they got. How messed up is that? So when you hear brothers that is in prison and they say, man, I ain't even do this, bro, I'm innocent. And I know it's the thing that people say, oh yeah, everybody's innocent. Everybody say that they're innocent. No, there are brothers that are literally in there and they are innocent. They didn't do it. Don't believe, look at the overturned rating. Look at the appeal rate. Look at how many people went on an appeal to show that they were wrongly convicted.
The messed up thing is a lot of those people, I'm just spitballing here. I would imagine a lot of those guys, I'd say a lot of those guys probably only figured out how to deal with the system
once they were in it. Once they were in it, they realized, yo, they violated this right, they did this with, I don't know, ineffective assistant, kind of whatever the case may be. And yeah, then they finally made their way. But it obviously, when you get convicted, maybe some people get, you know, bond or whatever, but for the most part, you got to go to prison before you can get out of prison. And that's just an unfortunate reality. But again, the lawyers and especially the public defenders, they have an incentive not to help you, but also the prosecutors have an incentive to withhold any exculpatory evidence. Even though we know it as a Brady violation, the average person who gets picked up probably doesn't even know the concepts. And even if they did, it doesn't mean that they have the pull to force prosecutors to provide things that would be beneficial. So yeah, there's just a system that there are too many incentives to be dishonest, and that's got to go.
I agree, bro. I agree.
Cash and I did a show in November about the justice system and, you know, a lot of the problems that we found statistically that we could prove in the justice system. So if anybody's interested in that, and we found some crazy facts about, you know, how many people are held in jail because they couldn't afford bond of under $1,000. And, you know, the average, time people are held incarcerated because they couldn't make that bail is like a year. And in the J6er's case, I think it was over 18 months.
And then the whole race thing, when they throw the black stigma, like black people are criminals because of the high crime rate, right? But what they don't tell you is the overturn rate. What was it? It was like 57% free, something like that. 57% of convictions on black criminals are overturned, and they were innocent. But again, this is a way that they keep people. They keep people divided by these things. It's on purpose. Yeah. Everything that they do is on purpose to keep people divided, to where the person that don't see black people every day will be like, "Oh no, stay away from them. He's a Cash. He's crazy. Look at him, the color. He's got to be one of them." You know what I'm saying? I wear the do-rag. I look the part, right? And then on the flip side of that, it makes black people that are incarcerated by white COs look at white people and be like, "Man, these white people locked me up, man, and they took away my life, and I was innocent." And da 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 da. And you go to a system where it's segregated by race and gang, so you're learning racism. They send you in here, and everybody learns racism real quick. You're gonna learn racism real quick. You're gonna learn. Now you have this PTSD inside of you. You have these memories, and you're like, this system is against me. So people wonder where that stigma comes from when black people are like, "Bro, the system's rigged against me." It comes from people who have made it out that system. Over half of the black people that have been incarcerated get released because they were innocent. What do you think they're telling people when they go back to the community? It's like, and people don't see this. This is why I say
they were indoctrinating inmates in Atlanta into Marxism. Like they were teaching it in the education department. And I'm not talking about like inmates running a class. I'm talking about like a college local to Atlanta was in the education department giving classes on how great Marxism was. And I mean, I was walking by one day. I think I was going down to the barber shop, or I was doing something. And I look over on the whiteboard and I see Karl Marx, and I see a whole bunch of stuff written under it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to step in here just out of curiosity to see what's going on. So I slid in and sat down for about 10 minutes, and it was indoctrination. And I mean, some of those guys, they were highly educated and they were just taking that class to get their credits. But a lot of those guys aren't. And they're teaching these guys, it turns into recidivism, you know what I mean? Yep. Because these guys go out into the community and they automatically think that what they were taught in this educational department where they were locked up at is the way things should be. So they start acting a certain way. They totally throw, their lives away because they've been indoctrinated in these beliefs. I tell you, and you're right about the division. So I go to the chaplain first week I'm in Atlanta. I go down to the chapel. I go in the chaplain's office. I walk in there, chest out, head up high, and started talking to him, trying to get a Bible and get some other things. And the guy looks at me and he goes, "What are you, some kind of shot caller?" And I said, "No, I'm just a guy trying to get a Bible and stuff." And so he asked me for my ID card. So he grabs my ID card and scans it, and he looks at it. And he looks back up at me and he goes, "Oh, you're one of those guys." And I go, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Oh, you one of them white supremacist motherfuckers, ain't you?" And I said, "Sorry?" Say that again. And he goes, I know your type. I'm looking at your sheet right now. You one of them oath keepers. You're a white supremacist. Like, how you feel?" He just went into this whole thing, and it was him and another CO that were there, and they were totally on the like white supremacist, white nationalists. Like, I think the day before, I don't know if you remember, there was a fight, I think in Alabama on a boat ramp. It was like a river boat or a boat ramp. It was a bunch of black people, some white people. They tried to make a whole race thing out of it, but it fell out of the news pretty quick. But the dude says to me, he's like, "Man, call you people over in Alabama. Tell them to stop attacking our folks." I was like, "Man, what are you fucking talking about? Like, you're a chaplain. Like, you're not supposed to be acting this way." But
Kenny, please, Kenny, get on your racist hotline and tell them to stop. All right?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I feel you.
To caveat on that, during one of his sermons, he tells the guys in the sermon about a new white nationalist on the yard that they should be looking out for.
Wow.
Yeah. But what's funny is I was my cellie was he was in the chapel when that happened. So he grabbed a few of those guys and brought them to the cell and was like, "This is who the chaplain's talking about." And we sat and talked, hung out, broke bread. And eventually I'm walking the yard with these guys. I'm working out with these guys. And they're all like, "Man, you ain't what this dude's saying you are." And I was like, "Yeah, because the guy's not a chaplain. He's got that title because he gets paid a little bit more money."
Mm-hmm. You know, that's crazy, Kenny, how that worked out. Because if America could grasp that, yeah, I know what these people are saying that are employed over me. These people aren't here for me, right? They're not here for me. They're here to control, to make some money. And on a scale of all of America, if America could grasp that, like, look, these people that sit behind these podiums, and these people that sit in the Congress, and these people that sit behind the desk and tell you the news, they're not for you. They're not for you. We all live together. America, we all live together. So regardless, when the BLM riots happened, they telling me all the white police officers is killing people. You fall into it for a second because it's a trigger for black people. When you hear anything about racism, white cop kills black guy, we fall into this thing, and it's like, hold on, wait a minute. And it's not until you go outside your door and you see the people that look like the people on the TV that did the wrong, and you actually talk to them, and then you hear them or they hear you, and you're like, oh, that's not true. Same thing with white people. You know what I've heard a lot my whole life? Oh, you're not like them. You know, what does that mean? I'm not like them. I know what they mean, but they don't know what they're saying. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not them. I'm just a regular American person. Don't judge me based off of what you heard or what you've seen from somebody else just because I look like that.
Oh,
that's not
Martha.
me.
Martha,
You know?
he's one of the good ones, Martha.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. But hearing you talk about that makes me think about when we were in DC DOC and I first went to go get the haircut. And they let the barbers that were on the other side of the jail cut my hair. And I had a conversation with the barber Johnson, and they were asking me what I was there for. I told them the conspiracy and January 6th. They said, "Oh, you went to January? You with all them white supremacists?" And I'm like, "Bro, they not white supremacists, bro." They say, "Hell, they not." I watched the news, and that's what they were telling me. I said, "No, bro, they're not white supremacists." And he go, "Bro, it don't matter if they're not white supremacists or not. You shouldn't even be over there with them. You should see if you should be over there with us because you black. You not one of them." And I'm like, "Brother, I got more in common with them than anybody that I've met in this jail yet, other than if you looking at skin color. You know what I'm saying? We have the same style of thinking for the most part about what we want for this country. And then I start talking to them about law. And then I remember everybody was feeling everything I was saying. They're like, bro, you kicking some knowledge. That's facts. Everything you saying is real. But the barber was so upset. He go, all right, just wait till you get to that yard. You're going to find out how it really is. These white, they don't care about you, man. They don't care about none of us. You're going to see when it come down to it, if y'all going to the same yard, they're going to put that knife in you. And then I'm like, no. And I told him, he said, watch, you'll see when you get there, you going to maybe have to do something to one of them. And I'm like, listen, and I stood on this. I say, when I get to where I'm going, I promise you this, I'll never go back to being the person that I was as far as being a gangbanger. And I'll never become a racist. You're never going to see it. I don't care what yard they put me in. I'll spend my time in the hole if I got to. You're never going to get me to be something I'm not. No one will ever get me to be something I'm not. The feds couldn't get me to be something I'm not. You know, so I think about that conversation and how his mom was already ingrained that he's done years. He was just getting out. He just came back from federal prison and he was housed in D.C. about to get back out into the world, which I hope that he's successful out there. And I hope his mind might have changed being out in the real world. But hearing the way that he he thought and wanted me to think because of the experience that he just had, it wasn't necessarily against me or against y'all. It was because he just came from a yard where now I know that was a reality of what he said. It just wasn't my reality. I chose something different. And I feel for that brother. And I feel for a lot of brothers that had to go through them systems, and he was there for a long time before it got a little bit better than what it was. It used to be worse. I'm sure y'all have heard the stories about what it used to be like in there, about how things used to go before like body cameras or surveillance cameras was put up in there, and the things that would happen. And it's just like, dang, because that is a reality. They teach racism. They teach racism in prison. They want you to learn that and take it back out into the world and be that angry person and think a certain way about somebody based off of their color. It's a sad thing, man.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there are guys in prison that know the difference. Like take me, like, for example, I earned my respect. I did man time. You know what I mean? I worked out with dudes in the Bloods, Gangster Disciples. I hung out with Odinists, straight edge guys, the independent crews, like what Bobby was talking about. I didn't get involved in the politics because once you got involved in the politics, that's when the racial divide starts occurring. You know what I mean? Like the guy I'm working out with, if I go stand in the huddle, I got to stand with the white dudes. I can't go over there and talk to him because then that makes his people think there's something going on with him. And then he's in trouble. You know what I mean? So, but looking at that, though, I was kind of lucky because they tried to drag me in and the guys would say, no, he's not, like, we're criminals. This is what we do.
Facts.
He is not a criminal. He is a political prisoner. I heard that multiple times
on my life,
multiple different situations. Like, it was kind of a good thing because I had guys grab me like, hey, you need to come with me. We got to go pull up over here on this meeting and da 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 da. And then one of the speakers for one of the other cars would come over and say, nah, he ain't going. This ain't his life. He ain't about that. You see this man, he's doing man time. He got a clean jacket. He don't fuck with nobody.
You got lucky, bro. A lot of brothers, they don't get that when they go in there. You got people that was around you looking out for you. You was in a medium, right?
Well, they're medium low.
Yeah, medium low. Okay. See, it depending on where you go, it's like it's unavoidable. Medium low, you had it. That was sweet. That's really good. But places where medium high or high, it ain't so good. Where I was when I was
you gotta be politics in.
Well, not necessarily. You could be independent, but like you said, there's things that you won't be able to do. And when you go to a weight pal, if you have weights where you was at, you can't go just work out because there's going to be other people around the machine and they have their time set, especially if they're a gang. There's going to be certain times where you can't use the phone because this phone is for gang members and this gang over here, or this one's whites only, or this one, whatever. And if you're an independent white, you can't use the phone until after the white gangs that are larger than you can go, unless the independents are the larger white gang. So it all depends on the numbers, man. And there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of that. They'll see somebody that'll come in and they're on man time, and they'll try to, mess with them because they're on man time. Because who's going to look out for you? You willing to push a knife on your own? If you're not willing to push a knife on your own, you're gonna take what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? But them are discussions for, you know, other times.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
overall though, bro, again, the system's just messed up that it's that life is like that. You know what I'm saying? For people, for you, for Tim, whatever you had to go through up in there.
What I was getting at though is I had like several like I had several black friends, and it was funny because most of them were educated,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew the difference between racism and community. You know what I mean? But then you had a lot. I say a lot. It really wasn't a lot, but there was like a select few guys that were just ingrained in that
mentality,
racist ideology.
Yeah. Yep. It sucks, dude. It does. Tim, where'd you go? You was at the low, right?
Yeah, I went to the low, Fort Dix, right here in Jersey, which it's ironic because that's where I worked in the Army.
That's dope.
Well, no, the prison was actually it was kind of like DC. It was basically a condemned Army barracks, and so if the mold was bad in DC, I don't know what it was in Fort Dix, but it was a low, so there really wasn't a lot of politics. You know, I'm a mongrel, so but you know, I present like Kenny does. So when I got to prison, I'm like, the first person that come up to me is gonna be fucked up. I know. So this like midget, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you wanna join?" He basically tried to get me to join this independent white car. I mean, it was just a white car. It was whatever.
Right.
And like the leader was this dude who didn't have a real name. He had a nickname. He was really from California. I'm in New Jersey. I'm like, why are you on the other side of the country? BOP's supposed to, whatever. And he's got, you know, his Swazi's tattooed all over his shit. I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this. And my room is all Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. I was in like a dorm room. So I'm like, no, I'm comfortable with this actually. So I didn't have to really roll with a car. So
you
like
got to in a low.
Yeah, but there were cars. There weren't really gangs, but I was also fortunate too, where like it's like messed up, like how they hide shit from the public. First off, like a third of the inmates were really illegal aliens. So it was kind of like an ICE facility. Another third were
the same way in Atlanta.
Yeah,
dude, they bragged in Atlanta about how 70% of the population in that prison at that time were ICE detainees.
Yeah. We had a third were illegals, a third were chomos, and then the other third were just people who were there on like regular time for like drugs, guns, gang, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, most of the people there, like the cars there, were primarily location based. So like New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Philly. So like I really didn't experience a lot of racism in prison. It was mostly just people trying to get their time done. So I was fortunate in that regard. And keep in mind also, I was a vampire. So like, bro, I just stayed up all night reading books and then I slept in the day. I didn't really fuck with people to begin with.
Bro, when they first made me leave, you know where I went? I went to Lexington, Kentucky. It was a low and it was the best prison ever in the world. Like, it was just great. It was like I pulled up at Hogwarts and like I was gonna play the game that they play. It was really, really cool, bro. It was there was like, it was an active yard. There was no gang real politics going on like that. And I didn't have to mess with nobody. People from Indiana came up to me. Like when I was they did the COVID thing for 2 weeks. You had to be on quarantine still when I got to the prison. And while I was back there, people were coming back to bring you your linens and all of that. And they're like, yo, bro, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Indiana. And it was like, oh, man, well, I'm going to let your boys know that you're here. I'm like, all right, cool. So he let the Indiana card know because they asked me if I was on gang time. I'm like, nope. I'm not in the gang. I lied. I'm like, I ain't never been in a gang. I ain't got nothing to do with gang. You know. So they went back and told the Indiana dudes that I was there. They started bringing me stuff, but we all made the jokes when we were locked up. Don't take nothing from nobody, especially if it's candy. You know? So I'm like, no, I don't need nothing, brother. You can let them know I'm cool. Send it back. I don't need anything.
So don't leave a chocolate on your pillow.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, I don't want nothing. So I didn't take it. But when I got out there, there was people that I knew from the world. And they were like, bro, what are you doing here? And it was just cool. It was just like, okay, this is my brother and I'm here. And I met a couple good dudes in there, and then I met everybody. And then my name throughout the prison when I first got there was J6. That's all they called me, J6. J6, oh, he's a political prisoner. It's J6. Even the COs.
Same with me, yeah.
Yeah, the COs loved me there. It was great. But then I got moved. Because remember when I was locked up with you guys, I was telling you that I had to go to the gang dropout program. That's what I was going to do, because I'm like, I'm not joining the gang. I'm not going back to that life. So I go to the thinking the gang drop, and I was bragging about it when I was with you guys. I'm like, the gang dropout program, bro, is going to be great. There's a whole bunch of people there that's going to be like me that don't want to gangbang no more. Bro, they put me to Lewisburg after I left Hogwarts. That's what I'm calling it. They took me to Lewisburg. Bro, they threw me in the hole. I've been a great inmate. I ain't did nothing wrong. They put me in the hole. I'm like, what am I doing in the hole? They say, oh, you got to be in the hole if you're going to the gang dropout program. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's just a hell before you get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the hole. After a couple months of waiting to be designated, they ship me. I'm in the real unit inside of Lewisburg for like, what, 2 months? 2 months out of the 6 months, 5 months that I was there. I'm on the real unit. Then I leave from there. And I go to my real prison, and I'm really excited, thinking I'm going to be at a good facility, and there's going to be a lot of like-minded individuals in there that don't want to gangbang no more, bro. The drop yard was worse than the real yard, bro. These people were supposed to be, in my mind, I don't know, I thought of differently. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be upstanding people that are just ready to get home to their families. They want. No, these are people that got kicked off their yard, that done got stabbed, people that didn't have an eye. It was people that was owing debts or run up a drug debt that they couldn't pay. It was people that got caught messing with boys. It was all types of stuff, bro. And I'm like, whoa. And there's no organization. So when you go to a drop yard, you're thinking it's going to be more, chill. No, it's way more wide open, because now they don't have to answer to nobody. They can be a scumbag the whole time that they're there without repercussion from their car. There's no car. You just, if you kick it with these people, most of them was drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? Most of them was drug addicts. That's what a majority of them was. You found some good brothers. I'll say about a good 10, 15 brothers where I was at that I kicked it with every day, that were real for real, like on my time. They're like, yo, we just trying to get home, bro. We ain't on none of that. We working out. We don't do drugs. We don't do none of that. We stay away from all the BS. We sat at our own table. We had our own table. Like we don't do that. It was still segregated by race though. That's what they went back to there. It was straight race. So blacks sat with blacks, the blacks and the Puerto Ricans sat together, the whites sat with the whites, the Mexicans sat with the Mexicans, and the kitty diddlers couldn't have a TV. They weren't allowed a TV. And that caused problems. Like they was always beating up the kitty diddlers. And yeah, it was crazy, because people getting, I was there with Derek Chauvin. He got stabbed up. You know what I'm saying? I was there when another dude lost his, and it was just like, bro, you cannot do this on a regular yard. You can't just go up and start a conflict with somebody and there's not going to be no repercussions. No repercussions there. Do what you want. You want to whoop somebody? Go ahead. You want to stab somebody? You can go for it. Nobody's going to do nothing to you. You're just going to go to the hole. And then some dudes, you know what a check-in is. So yeah. Dude wanted to go to the hole because he owed a debt. All right, he's going to take that. He's going to take that knife and he's going to go and stab the first person that he can, just so he can get taken off the unit and hopefully get redesignated to another yard, so he don't got to pay this debt. And that's what a lot of them dudes were there for in the first place. So you're just around a bunch of stab happy drug addicts.
Did y'all have the?
Forget. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, for y'all, what was it for like where I was at? It was like deuce heads. Everybody was on deuce or K2. Like
it was like, everything where I was at, bro.
We were
needles and all types of stuff. I'm talking.
They be wheeling in drones as big as cars that had fucking like malfunctioned, dropping packages on the yard.
I'm telling you, bro. It was crazy. Like there was dudes shooting up, falling out, nodding out in the cell. One funny story, and then I'll cut it out because we talked about the bad stuff. Let me tell you something funny. When I was in the low in Lexington, there was this old dude from West Virginia, right? Or from Virginia. No, West Virginia. Old guy, tall black dude with dreads, came off as just this nice guy, right? And there was a whole bunch of dudes floating around that facility. It's a little young Mexican kid, man, one of the paisas. He was doing deuce a lot. So he ended up in his room, and in Lexington, there's no locks on the doors. We had cells instead of a dorm. We had cells, but no locks on the doors. You could just walk in and out of your cell whenever you wanted. It was great. It was literally, I felt like I was in a college dorm. And the dude walks by this dude's cell. We all standing in the hallway chopping it up. He walks past the dude's cell and he stops and he looks back. And he stands there, he gives him this look. I come walking up just to make sure he don't try to do nothing to the little Mexican dude, bro. So I go walking up, he go, hey man, somebody better get this youngin', man. He over here messed up on that dude. Somebody gonna get his butt. I said, what? That's what's on your mind right now? I'm thinking he's gonna try to, maybe ruin his cell and rob him or something. No, he was on booty time. And I'm like, okay. Okay. So yeah, we had to wake the little dude up. It was crazy.
He's a booty warrior.
I'm the dude from Boondocks.
A man's butt.
Exactly. That guy.
I
was like,
liked
yo.
you, and
he
I
blew my
want
mind after that. And he had the store too. That was the dude that had the store. So we were all buying stuff from him after that. It's like, no, we can't mess with him, bro. He got other things on his mind. He been down for a long time too. Yeah. And he just got there like a month ago from he got from a medium. He worked his way down to the low. He's like, nah, we can't mess with this dude.
I can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Well,
Choice is yours.
The choice is yours.
I still remember me and Kelly walking out to the yard at Lewisburg, and we hear, Kelly, Kenny, and me and fucking Megs were just kind of like looking around, like, what the fuck is that? And Kelly, Kenny, we look over, man, and there's like like half a window,
Yeah.
like dirt level, and it's Cash.
Yeah. Yep, that was me. I was
like,
excited,
oh,
man.
Cash.
I was so excited to see y'all, bro. You have no idea. I was stuck in the hole. I ain't talked to nobody. I'm like, man, couldn't get mail, couldn't get nothing going on.
When Trump first said he was going to pardon us, we were at Lewisburg. So the next morning, we're walking out to go to the yard, and the unit that was over the shoe where you were at, we're walking out, and all you hear is, he's gonna pardon you. And like all these dudes just start yelling and screaming and beating on the windows. And it was like, wow, this is fucking nuts.
Yeah, man. It was good. It was good, bro. Yeah. Happy
I got
J6,
a golden
guys.
ticket.
I wanted to ask about that. Did you guys see the news? I think it was today that Trump is going to, pardon or give clemency to 1,500 plus.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that.
I had
Any
seen
reaction to that?
I've seen two different. Well, that's the first time I heard the 1,500. I think I saw 1,000 plus, and I'm actually confused because it seemed my understanding was Don Jr. retweeted someone who said they should pardon 1,000 plus, and I guess Don Jr. said that or something like that. Was there an actual statement or
no? There was an actual statement, but not by Trump. I forget who it was that was. I forget who it was that was talking, that was saying it, but they were on whatever news network it was, and they said that Trump's gonna hand out over 1,000 pardons.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see clemency at first, but then I watched the video where they said pardons. So I was cool with that. I'm like, all right, that'll work. Pardons is far better than just commuting a sentence.
Yeah. You get all your rights back.
Yeah.
I actually talked to my the public defender for my appeals, and we discussed all that today. So
yeah, man, I hope it
happens. I guess they're trying to figure out how much work they need to do.
My brothers, look, it's been great. Not to cut it, but we on for 3 hours, and my baby, I could hear. I've heard her like 4 times already. I know Champagne's probably like, this is the longest live that he's done since I've had the baby. But this is great. I would love for you guys to come on more, man, and just talk. Be here. This is good. This is the vibe right here, bro. This is a whole vibe. This was great. One of the best shows we've done.
I was gonna float too. When the pardons come out, I think we should do that night if for whoever's available.
I'm down.
Likewise.
Yeah. I'm game.
Anybody want to say anything in closing or have anything they want to promote?
Yeah, so I got an OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding.
Is it with the Graves?
No, God. Yo, we got to talk about that too on the next one, bro. We got to talk about the grave, bro. That's That's something. But no, in our seriousness, we got a lot of people watching right now. I appreciate you guys for sharing this thing out. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you have not already and you're watching from X, I know I got a lot of people over on X, and so does Free. I would appreciate it if you guys could please follow both of these brothers that's up here, and also make your way over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button for me. All right, it don't cost you nothing. I get paid off straight views. So all you gotta do is go there to watch me, and it's the same stuff that I put on X. If you all could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it, because unlike the other J6er's that probably have employment right now, I live in a very blue place, and I don't have the skin that wins. So the J6 thing doesn't work the same for me, because I'm a black, violent Latin king J6er in the news. So when they Google that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a J6er and it sucks what happened to him, but you know, that's been my experience so far. I bet you if I moved to Florida, I'd have employment like that, which would be great. I'm thinking about it. But no, for real.
Come on, bro.
I'm deadly thinking about it, brother. Like, I need to get up out of it. It's not working. I mean, I love it here. Don't get me wrong, but it's just, I would like to do more, you know? But this is where I'm at right now. So if you guys want to support, please go to my YouTube channel, Cash Kelly 1. Cash Lee Kelly on X. Cash Lee Kelly 1 on X. But my YouTube channel is Cash Kelly 1. Please go there and hit that subscribe button and like this video. All right? That's what I ask. That's my X account. Yeah. So that's
I'm
it.
struggling, man. You got so many different things, man. This is
I know. I need to make them all one, but it's just, it's
all these different pseudonyms for you.
Yeah.
I'm looking. Terry's got it somewhere. Terry, if you see it, would you just stick it up on the screen? I'm discombobulated. Tim, you working on a rom-com or anything that we need to know about, or
only when the lights are off. No rom-com.
Come on, you're a comedian. You could at least give me a charity laugh there, you know.
Yeah, I not quite. Maybe I'll stage a hopium den after Trump gets inaugurated.
I'm down.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm down, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what else. I don't know what to say in closing. You can follow me on X, Lewis of Monmouth. I try to post on all the different things, the Getter and the other things. It's all Lewis of Monmouth, but I don't update any of them because I'm a bum. Yeah, and I upload all my interviews on YouTube. It's not Lewis of Monmouth on there for some reason. I think it's because I'm stupid. Tim Hale J6 or J6 Tim Hale, one of those things, you can find it. I don't know what else to thanks for having me on. It was great to reconnect and do this face to face instead of just over the phone. Yeah. Screw the probation department. Not that they're relevant anymore. Screw the Department of Justice. And I like eggs. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be controversial, but thanks for having me.
You're really funny, and I had already floated this idea to Cash earlier, but I want to do the game show. I want to do a J6 edition, so we'll be reaching out about that. So if you haven't seen the game show,
you'll go viral, bro. If you have Tim on that show, I promise you, I'm creating viral clips out of it because he's going. Bro, it's going to be fun.
We've got a 50-50 chance that you still don't know the rules next time, Cash, too.
It doesn't matter. I'm not telling him the rules. I'm just going to let him go into it like I did, you know?
Rules are made to be invented.
Oh, you'll like it then because that's exactly what it is.
I think
there are no rules.
Honest to God, I think he'll win, bro. I don't think they can handle him.
Is the pizza for you and me? Squidward!
Yeah.
Kenny, anything you want to throw out there as we close up here?
No, thank you guys for having me. Unfortunately,
Angels Patriot Battalion. Angels Patriot Battalion.
Yeah. There is no social media for me. You can check out angelspatriotbattle.org. If you want to learn more about me, my story, you can also check out The Blaze. They've done extensive investigative journalism on my trial and my case. That's about it, man. Thanks for having me. And again, check out Angels Patriot Battle. Get you some J6 gear.
Everybody go check it out. She got some really dope gear on there. Straight up, go check her out. Support this brother.
She makes patches, hats,
Yeah.
Custom made to order stuff. So whatever your heart desires,
And the banana hammocks, hammocks are very affordable too.
Only used once.
Touche.
I think from the internet they're worth more if they're used.
Oh yeah, right.
It depends on who used them. This is good, man. This is
to grave.
Yeah, for real, dog. Yeah, hey, he's out. He's got a page. I didn't know that. I just seen it yesterday.
Yeah, he already blocked me. It's
I ain't said nothing. I was just like, hey, do what you do, bro. I seen you guys had a little spat on your page. I was like, oh, it's going down over here. I liked your comments and Scott's comments, and just let the rest be. Everybody, if you're interested in learning about that, just go to Tim's page and just go through it. That's all I'm gonna say. Just go through it. It's a good time. Yeah, man. But Free, thanks for hosting this, my bro.
Yeah, this was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for going the distance, Tim. Thanks for jumping in, Kenny. This was really, this was the best information I've seen available. So this was really good. And appreciate you guys being willing to share, what was, such an awful experience. I'm glad you guys got the friendships and, the growth that you got out of it, but obviously it was just an overall absolutely terrible situation with, lawfare unseen in our lifetimes. And, I can't imagine having to go through that. It's just, I don't think people realize how awful it is. So Cash and I will be back. We've got some stuff percolating. I pitched it at the beginning. If you missed the beginning, you can see what all we got going on. Make sure you're following, all these folks and, checking out those things. Make sure you're following Terry. I mentioned that before. And we'll be back. Terry and I'll be back with Mike Decentralized on Thursday, and then hopefully game show over the weekend, but I don't plan those out very well in advance. And I need to find 3 people. That's a lot of work for us. So it's a lot of squirrel wrangling.
Hey, I might be down again if you can't find nobody, because that was fun. I had a good time.
So. It was a really good time. So if you haven't seen the game show, check it out. It's in my feed. Under my articles on X, you can see all the shows we have there. There's, a half dozen that Cash and I have done together, and then all the rest of them as well. Tim, I think you'd be interested in a lot of it, because we're doing a lot of like localism type stuff, grassroots organizing, how to kind of fight back against the centralized powers that be that are screwing up pretty much everything, including the justice system, as you guys pointed out so very well.
I might disappoint you. I see that anarchist symbol behind you. I'm a filthy imperialist warmonger, so I don't know if we'll get. I don't know if we can mesh like that. No, I am an imperialist.
Yeah, Cash gave me crap about being an anarchist the other day too. So I get it a lot. Nobody really likes us, including us.
Hey,
so.
It's all right, man. I was 14 once too. So cool.
To come out of the federal prison system and not want them to all go away immediately kind of blows my mind. But I'll wear that, man. I'll wear it.
I just want to say before we get off here, because I do got to go.
This is Cash Kelly checking in with the J6er's, just to let you know that the J6er's ain't racist. You know how I know? Because I'm a black one.
I'm going to...
That's fucking great.
Because you tempted me, I'm going to play you out with my anarchist song. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate everybody that joined. Almost 6,000 people. Really cool. And we'll see you all next time.
Later.
Keep it.
From the ashes,